5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we welcome you into our Columbia watch party this evening. Thanks so much for joining us. This is going to be a very unique evening as we are going to have some fun. We're going to reminisce and we're going to look back at a very special postseason run by the Columbia baseball team as the NCAA baseball Facebook page, also the NCAA College World Series Twitter page will be replaying tonight the Coral Gables regional matchup between Columbia and Miami. They squared off on May 31st, 2015. So nearly 5 years off that date, but we'll have an opportunity to watch the entire game. We're going to hear from various coaches, various players. We're going to get insight, hit on all the different angles leading up to the game, as well as the decisions that helped power Columbia to a 3-0 victory, 3 pitchers combining for a 2-hit shutout as Columbia blanked Miami 3-0, and it helped set up a decisive 7th game between Columbia and Miami again on the following Monday night. But 2 freshmen were so critical in helping Columbia get the job done. And as we start off the festivities, because we're about 20 minutes away from first pitch, I welcome in head coach Brett Beretti. Coach, first of all, thanks so much for taking part in this tonight. I hope you and yours are safe and healthy. How's everything on your end tonight?
Thanks, Lance. Everything's good. Everybody's good. And thank you for being here. Really appreciate it and look forward to reminiscing with the guys. And it's good. It's unreal. That's 5 years away, which is why I can't remember the game as well as I would like to. So I had to go back and refresh my memory on some of the box scores.
Well, it was quite a run, as you mentioned. And I think, Brett, where I want to start is how special and unique that season was overall. The team posted 34 victories. That was a program record. But I think what gets lost is the fact that this was not the first elimination game that Columbia faced. It was a continuous trend, it seemed, down the stretch where you forced the Lou Gehrig Division playoff tiebreaker game with Penn. Then you win that game. You then have to win 2 straight against Dartmouth in the Ivy League Championship Series, and then it's a battle and a grind as you make your way to Coral Gables. So, when you look back on that season, what do you attribute to why this team just had a knack for one comeback victory after another with its backs against the wall?
I think this team, like more so than any other. I mean, there was a belief that they could do anything. And I think that they had the players on that team and leadership roles, especially, that just fostered that type of atmosphere and that attitude amongst themselves, that they didn't put pressure on themselves. They were really good at being able to, come back from adversity and work their way through it. And it was a special group, no question about it. And they fed off of that. I think they fed off each other. The young guys who stepped up that year, I think learned so much from the older guys, and that was something that just was passed down, I think, too. This is the 3rd year in a row that we were in a championship, Ivy championship final and going to the regionals. And I think those guys had a lot of confidence and just believed in themselves that much that, they when they got their backs against the wall, they believed in each other and found a way to work through it.
And it was the 2nd year, as you just alluded to, that the team went to the Coral Gables Regional. You went to Miami the previous year. The first run was, of course, Cal State Fullerton. And we see some familiar faces popping up on our screen, Coach, as we provide more and more insight leading up to this game. We're joined by Pete Mackey and Dan Tischler. Dan Tischler certainly currently on the baseball staff. Mackey's gone on to bigger and better things. He's moved up the ladder now with the Minnesota Twins organization, minor league pitching coordinator.
Are the tunnels of Target Field bigger and better things?
Is it raining?
No, I just realized that the 6:45 was Eastern. And I'm on Central Time, so I can make it. I can make it for a few minutes.
This is outstanding.
Yeah. I was gonna have William sit in, take my place. Maybe he is in, but I sent the link to Lise in case William wanted to watch.
This is great.
Well, Pete, before we get into the nuts and bolts leading into this game, what is life like now that you're a part of the Twins organization and trying to navigate the ins and outs of this shortened season?
Well, I think there's a lot of new things, right? Like it's new for all of us. We're hearing new news every day, and just kind of, simply put, reading and reacting to the news, to new regulations, to new tests and new protocols. Where we're going to have the meetings for players, a relief pitcher meeting. I didn't know where that was going to be until about 3:30 today. Because we can't be inside in tight spaces. So it's just like fun and challenging and weird.
A combination of everything. Well, now that we have all three of you in the clubhouse, as I like to call it here, I think one of the most fascinating storylines leading up to this game that we're going to watch in its entirety is when you all sat down as a staff, looked around and said, okay, well, we used 90% of our pitchers. Who are we going to hand the ball to try to solve one of the most dangerous lineups in college baseball, a top 10 ranked team? So take us through how you came to grips with this decision and ultimately handed the ball to Bryce Barr, a freshman who hadn't pitched since April of that year.
That's a great question, Lance. Pete, what was that decision? I just remember
I don't know.
we were in the weight room sitting there waiting to play that game, and we're looking down the end of the line as far as the pitching. We were saving Weisman for the next day after we won. That's the only thing we talked about. We were saving Weisman.
I think we were so hopped up on Cuban coffees, you could have suggested anybody to us, and we were going that direction.
Claudio KC pitch.
I think Coach Walsh might have had 4 of those things between games.
No, Lance, I was just looking back and reading the article. I know Bryce had not pitched since April 21st.
Yeah.
And Boehm hadn't pitched since April 15th.
They were fresh.
Well, you guys knew something that the rest of us didn't know then, apparently.
No, it's hey, next man up mentality. We had used, everybody, thrown everybody in the first 3 games, and those guys, even though they hadn't pitched in a while, Bryce was 2-0 coming into that start, and we knew that they were going to be under pressure as young guys, but we also knew that they were going to be strike throwers. They were going to be able to throw strikes, and it's one of those things, and it's pretty crazy in baseball. That's the great thing about the sport. Guys stepped up. What are your thoughts on that, Coach Yankee?
I just remember Cambio, great changeup, just couldn't hit it. And you know who our bullpen catcher right now is? Garrett Kennedy, their left-handed hitting catcher, who caught when Zach Collins couldn't handle the third day of catching.
Yeah.
So I've talked to Garrett quite a bit recently about like that whole tournament and just those games, right? The highs and the lows and all that. But he was very complimentary of the whole team, and so it's been neat to talk to him about that right now.
That's pretty cool.
I'm gonna go sit next to him for the first 4 innings of the game, like I have been every day.
That's a riot, man. It's a small world.
So, Pete, what do you remember telling Bryce when he was handed the ball and the advice you gave him to set the tone for that game?
Sorry, we got some trucks moving in the background. Can you say that again?
Completely understand. Well, a lot going on. We're balancing college baseball, Major League Baseball, just so our audience understands. Listen, this is uncharted territory for all of us. We got, Pete Mackey roaming through a tunnel and so forth as he's trying to take it and reminiscing. But Pete, my question was, if you remember what you told Bryce right before that start, because clearly as the pitching coach for that team, you obviously guided this entire staff. So, how did you get him ready? How did you loosen him up so he understood what the task at hand was?
Oh, truth be told, I don't remember any wise words that were different than anything I would tell any other guy. And it's just attack, get ahead, early in the head, and going over this on your. Now, Bryce would probably be able to tell you better than me if I said anything really revolutionary. It's unlikely. He just threw great and had some balls and threw a lot of strikes, which is, the name of the game, right?
It is indeed. And it worked out like a charm as he went through 5 scoreless innings, and then Zach Boehm, as you mentioned, came in. So, Brett, when you look back and you just looked at the box score, as you mentioned, what do you attribute to how freshmen could be so cool, calm, and collected on the biggest stage? Was it the fact that maybe a majority of the team was in Miami last year and had familiarity with the landscape of the layout of the stadium? I mean, what else do you think was such a contributing factor to those performances?
It's a great question. I'd like to know. I think no, I mean, you got to really hand it to those guys that they just took the ball and made the most of that opportunity. And I think Zach's probably feeding off of Bryce. When he's coming into that situation, saying, he just did a great job, and I'm going to go out and try to do this. And sometimes as freshmen too, you don't maybe realize the situation that you're in until after it's all over, and like, holy cow, that was a pretty big deal,
Well, it turned out to be a pretty big deal because when you look at Columbia baseball history, it's still arguably the most significant win in this program's history because it was the first win ever against Miami. It was also the first Ivy League school to win 3 teams in an NCAA baseball tournament since the regional format was implemented in 1999. And Dan, you were there front and center. What's your fondest memories about not just necessarily that game, but that entire run that year?
So it's funny you asked that question. I was actually talking with somebody about this whole event yesterday, and I admitted to him, I don't remember more than 3 things from that whole series of events. I remember Cuban coffee in Miami's weight room. I remember the double play to get us off the field and to win that thing. And then I remember a 1:30 a.m. Denny's run to get our guys food. And I've never been happier to eat at a Denny's in a weird part of Miami. But no, I just remember our guys coming out and not being intimidated, not feeling like anything was too big for them. There was the same mindset as if we were playing St. John's on a Wednesday. Guys rolled out and we're ready to go compete. And, this team knew just how good they were on a day-to-day basis in 2015. And I don't think that they were going to back off anything against anybody.
We're just under 10 minutes away from first pitch. A reminder, the game is not going to be shown on this screen. So for those of you tuning in, this is the watch party. We're going to be watching separately on our own other screens to take in the game. Just want to make sure for those of you tuning in, we certainly appreciate as we are reminiscing and looking back at that 2015 NCAA baseball regional game between Columbia and Miami. Dan, it's funny you brought up the coffee and the food runs. I don't know if any of you had an opportunity, but for somebody like me, not that this conversation's about me, but maybe we'll make it a little bit about me, so bear with me. The milkshakes at Mark Light Field, okay, at Alex Rodriguez Park, I figure we have to find a way to get that in. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to get 1 or 2 over the last 2 years that you went there, but I have to at least plug Miami a little bit. I know this is about Columbia, and we're going to focus as much as we want about the Lions, but I thought somebody could back me up on the Miami milkshakes that are served at that ballpark? Anybody want to weigh in?
I've had one. They're pretty good.
Dan, did you have an opportunity in between all the errands? No?
Didn't get a chance. It was, more about drinking enough water so I wasn't collapsing in the third inning, and finding a way to have a little bit of energy for the night game.
Completely understandable. The both of you had much bigger priorities than perhaps what I was trying to balance. So no criticism from that standpoint. But speaking of balancing, and you just hinted at this, Dan, and I want to bring Brett also back into this in terms of the game that you played at night. People forget you had to win a game earlier, and you had to go out and you had to win a nail biter with Florida International, a very close game, 4-3. And I would think, unlike other teams, maybe the way that the Ivy League regular season is set up, Brett, boded well for this team because you're so used to playing doubleheaders. You're so used to getting in a number of games in a short period of time that being put to the test from that standpoint was nothing new for this team to have to adjust to.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, I think that's, something that just the schedule dictates that we do that and we're used to it. I think that it almost is a little bit weird that there was such a long delay in between the next game from the end of the FIU game. But that's no, I think that's a good point, and it's one of those things that I don't think it was that much of a disadvantage. I mean, the guys are running on adrenaline, as it is. I mean, they're coming off a great win, and we got to wait around for a little while, and we got another shot at playing Miami, who beat us the night before. So I think there's it's the being used to it, but the adrenaline factor I think is a big deal in there as far as getting going.
You mentioned that when you beat Miami, you were at least thinking about, okay, who are we going to send out on the hill on Monday? But how much, I'm curious, when you go into these tournaments, because clearly the priority is, hey, let's take care of business, the game at hand. But how much are you laying out things once you know what region you're going to and saying, okay, in the event we win this game, this is who we're thinking about going to, or this is what the lineup's going to look like? How far ahead do you get, or does that necessarily not even enter the conversation until you actually have to address those areas?
No, I think your game 2 starter, you know who that's going to be, but that's after that, that's about it. I mean, it's all hands on deck. I mean, if you can win that first game, that puts you in a totally different situation than losing that first game. So, I think that, we're in a situation where we're gonna go with number 1 and number 2, and then, after that, it's who's left and who we got and what do we got to do to try to compete as best as we can.
The reason I bring that up as we are closing in on first pitch, of course, because another storyline in addition to what Bryce Barr and Zach Boehm did in this game, along with Adam Klein closing it out, was the fact that Gus Craig was injured the previous night against Miami. So as a result of his injury, you had to tweak the lineup a little bit in terms of inserting John Kinney as designated hitter, and Falcone gets moved around with Paller. How did you adjust to that? And what did you think about the team being able to have that flexibility and that versatility so that you had multiple guys that could take on various roles?
No, I mean, that's John Kinney was the ultimate Swiss Army knife. He stepped up every time you put him in the lineup, he'd get on base. It was unbelievable. And he had some big hits and some big RBIs, in his time, being in the lineup and taking advantage of it. And, Joey did a great job in the outfield, putting him out there. And, he did a great job in taking up the role on the defensive side of it. And, reading through there, I mean, I forgot, but Rob Paler is on base like 35 times in a row, I mean, some of the things it's really, it's awesome to read about, but it's quite amazing. Some of the stuff that the guys were able to do that year.
Absolutely. And the way that this team adjusted, as we see Jordan Serena popping up on the screen, the leadoff hitter for Columbia. Jordan, we'll get to in a second as we are closing in on the start of this game. But before we head into our individual chats with various players, I want to ask the two of you, since this has been quite the offseason, and unfortunately, you've seen the season be canceled because of the coronavirus. And I know we're here today to focus on reminiscing, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't give you guys an opportunity to really address what has been a trying time for the Columbia baseball program as well as the entire athletic program. What's it been like since the announcement of the cancellation of the season and just, navigating and trying to get through what lies ahead here for the both of you?
Nah, it's definitely been challenging. I mean, everybody's going through it, and we're just a small, piece of what's going on. But, the first thing you think of is the seniors, and it's unfortunate, that we weren't able to finish out their careers, at Columbia. But at the same time, I think those guys did a great job of creating some opportunities for themselves down the road. Hopefully, if things get off the ground, in the future here for this spring. But, you just try to make the best of it and try to make the most of it. And, I think we'll, continuing to try to stay positive. We always talk about working through adversity, and this is a big one. There's no question about it.
And how about you, Dan?
Something we talk about with our guys all the time is loving each other. And that involves a lot of different stuff. It's about supporting each other. It's about being there for one another through some really great times, like we're talking about tonight, and some really challenging times. And I think what Coach Beretti has talked about on every team meeting that we've had since this whole thing happened and the season got canceled on us, the message has been that, we're there for our guys and that we as a team and we as a family are going to support one another. And, that's just a really important piece of it. And I think our guys know how much we care about them and how much we want to just make sure that, they're getting the best out of the experience that they have here, regardless of what's coming next. And, I think, the guys that are on this call tonight, I think would speak to that kind of culture, that kind of family atmosphere as a big reason why, we've had the success that we've had in the past, and we're hoping to continue to have that success going into the future.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of success, the game is underway on the NCAA Baseball Facebook page, as well as the NCAA College World Series Twitter handle. Dan, always good checking in with you. And we're going to hear more from you a little bit later on the program. Certainly appreciate your insight as always. Brett Beretti is going to hang out with us throughout the course of this broadcast, but we bring in Jordan Serena, and Serena is up at bat right now as we speak, trying to solve Enrique Sosa, the starting pitcher for the Hurricanes. Jordan, good to see you. How's everything on your end?
Going pretty good, Lance. Good to see you too. What's up, Coach? Good to see you.
How are you?
Doing well, grinding it out just like everybody. You know how it's going.
Absolutely.
So good strike three swing right there, though, in that first at bat, huh?
You had a good beard going, though. I like the beard.
Yeah. So I remember it being nice and warm out there in that Miami heat. Keeps the face warm at least.
Well, the reason why we were focusing on, your ability to lead off and set the tone, as John Kinney unfortunately just grounded out, you really did a heck of a job in terms of swinging for the fences to start off this run in Coral Gables, because I know we're focusing on the Miami game, but Jordan, you hit that leadoff home run against East Carolina in the very first game. I'm curious what you remember about that and how big that was to really set the tone for the rest of this run here.
Yeah, that was an exciting one. I don't remember a ton of at bats over the years, to be honest, but that's one of them I definitely remember. Specifically because a couple weeks earlier I hit the leadoff bomb against Penn to go on the bottom of the first as well. So I don't know. I only hit bombs when nobody's on base, so I wasn't really that surprised. It's always solo shots. So, but it's definitely good first energy boost for any team to, see the leadoff guy hit putting it over the fence to start. It's confidence against what the pitcher was doing too. So see the leadoff guy saw it well. The guys after have a pretty good chance as well.
Brett was talking about earlier about, how deep this team is going back to 2015, relentless. What do you remember about you and your teammates' outlook of Miami, a top 10 ranked team, knowing that you lost to them the previous night, but there's no reason why you still couldn't go toe to toe to them again in this game that we're watching?
Yeah, like Tish and Coach have said, it was just a squad that it didn't really matter who was on the other side. We knew we had a good process and preparation going into all of our games. So, whatever the other team wanted to throw at us it didn't matter that we lost to them. It didn't matter, how big of a school they were or anything like that. We just had a bunch of guys who just like playing ball together and being competitive against whoever wanted to play against us. So or anything like that. We just had a bunch. That's kind of how we stuck through. With all those games like you were talking about, back to the wall games. That's how we do. Just stuck it out. It was another team to play, another team to try to beat. So with all those games like you're talking about,
absolutely. Well,
Jordan's a big part of that attitude, Lance. He's there's a reason why he's got how many rings you got from this place?
I got 3.
There's a reason why he's got 3.
yeah.
Appreciate that, Coach.
No doubt about it. Well, Jordan, we'll certainly hear from more on your front as we go throughout the course of this game. Always great to see you and great to catch up, because you certainly, as Coach mentioned, put your stamp on this team and then some. But as we see popping up on our screen, I guess the man of the night, and that is none other than Bryce Barr, who put together a heck of a performance. You can see Brett Beretti is smiling, okay, for those of you watching on the screen, because now he's really delving into, Bryce, what you were able to pull off. So, we heard Coach's perspective. What do you remember going into this game against a very powerful Miami lineup? I think, Bryce, you may be on mute. I'm not sure if that has to be adjusted. There we go.
Now
there you go, Bryce.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, I really did not remember much until after the game was over. It was just like everything just happened so quickly. It was, there wasn't any fear. We had faith in the team. As you mentioned earlier, Gus got hurt, and as Coach Brady said, it's just time for somebody else to step up. And I don't think it's really settling in, what happened until we were watching it now. I've never seen this stream before, so I'm excited to see it.
And we have Logan Boyer, your battery mate, who guided you along. Logan, how's everything on your end?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. I'm trying to get used to life with the coronavirus and have to wear a mask to the grocery store and stuff like that. So that's a bit of a change, but things are progressing. It's definitely good to see Coach Beretti and Bryce's new hairstyle. I couldn't be more proud of you, man.
Well, what's the jury? Is it still out, Coach, in terms of Bryce Barr's new haircut, as Logan put it?
That's it. That looks about right.
Yeah.
Probably, all 3 years after freshman year.
Right. And Bryce, I totally forgot you hit the leadoff guy.
Yeah, well, that's.
So did I.
Yeah, I remember Coach Mackey, always grilling into me. I'd always either walk the first guy or peg the first guy, and he would always give me shit for it. So, yeah, but.
And then Logan just picked you up big time.
Yep, huge play.
Not a baby, Logan.
Oh, yeah. I got one of them at least in college.
Oh, man. This is classic.
Well, Logan, you know what I think is interesting? You split time with Lane Robinette behind the plate. So, you've worked with a variety of pitchers that season. And we were talking about Bryce's last appearance was back in April. How difficult was it for you to get on the same page as Bryce leading into that game, and also the conversations you had with Bryce to make sure that the two of you were going to be in sync?
Bryce honestly was probably the best guy for that job, because he just does not care what anybody thinks. And he's just a natural, hey, all right, let's go, let's do it. And we would have funny conversations out on the mound. And I think I called probably 60 changeups out of the 80 that he threw. And somehow we found out the secret potion to Miami to throw 70-mile-an-hour changeups, but it worked, and it was awesome. But Bryce is just a stand-up guy, and we were friends off the field, and he's a funny guy, but he's fearless. So he was definitely the best guy for the job, and he proved it.
Well, Bryce, Logan just mentioned the 70-mile-per-hour changeups, which certainly were effective. Why do you think it was so effective? What was it about that pitch and that game plan that caught Miami off guard, or at least kept them off guard?
There was one right there, 74.
Yep. I think what it was is nobody's used to seeing changeups nowadays. It's always sliders and curveballs. So if you do have an effective changeup, it's a dominant weapon against people who don't see it very often.
Well, and Miami certainly did not see it often because of the fact that you were so effective through 5 innings as you get a ground out here. Nick McGuire backing you up from a defensive standpoint. And, that's the other thing, Bryce, that I think maybe goes a little bit overlooked if looking back at this game. People focus on you, and you certainly had an outstanding performance, but the defensive support that you received in this game. You had a number of double plays. I just mentioned what McGuire did. How much did that give you confidence knowing who was playing behind you?
Oh, it boosted confidence, infinitely. As long as you get the ball in the strike zone at a place that they're not going to crush, your defense is behind you and they're going to pick you up every time. And like you said, they turned multiple double plays. they turned multiple double plays. Without that, there's no confidence as a pitcher if you don't have a defense behind you.
Brett, how much was that a staple of the team, the defensive facet of this program, especially during that 3-year run?
Big time. I mean, we always talked about pitching and defense. I mean, when you talk about, Dave Spear, spearheading the previous, two seasons on the mound, and you want to surround those guys with athletes behind them and in front of them, and I think that's what gave us a chance to get to the level that we were getting at that time. We were fortunate. The 2015 team obviously was a very physical team offensively too. But that didn't take away from what the guys were doing on the defensive side. I mean, the guys we had in the triangle with Jordan and Will and Randall, and then you got Logan and Lane in the middle. It's impressive. And then you put Vandercook, at third base, who, he worked himself into being an unbelievable defensive third baseman. And Nick was always good and slick at first base, and then you put the bats in the corners. Gus made himself into a great hitter, and Robbie's always been able to hit, and then you add Joey into the mix, and it's a pretty special group, that year, no question.
Absolutely, especially the bottom of the lineup, which delivered in this game. Nick McGuire was 3 for 3, and we'll certainly hear from him a little bit later on. And Logan and Bryce, we're going to hear from you as we move forward too. Thanks so much for joining us, Bryce. It'll be very fun to continue to see his pitching clinic. But Joe Falcone pops up on our screen. And speaking of that lethal lineup, Brett, that you were mentioning, I can't think of somebody who was front and center in that lineup more so than Joe. Joe, good to see you. Hope all is well on your end. How's things?
Hey, good evening, actually. Pleasure to see everyone. How's it going?
We're doing very well. It is good to see you. Good to hear your voice as well. And, before we delve into this game specifically, Joe, I want to give you the opportunity to really look back at that season, because 2015 was a heck of a year for you as an individual. It was extremely a special year because of the fact that I believe you had really focused on your swing that offseason, if I'm correct, and really came back and did not miss a beat in terms of the statistics that you filled up on the stat sheet. What was it about the offseason before 15 that really enabled you to enter that groove?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, because I got caught up in really bad, real terrible habit of dropping my back shoulder my junior year. And everybody was just telling me point blank, yo, you're dipping, your first motion, even a BP, the first thing, when the ball leaves Coach Beretti's hands, like the first thing you're doing is dipping. And for some reason, I just didn't believe it my entire junior year. And I couldn't get out of it. And I went to summer ball that year. And I remember the coach on the team at summer ball was saying, like, look, guy, you're not even taking pitches the right way. You're swinging terribly. You're taking pitches terribly. You look like a horrible baseball player. And so, he fixed me there, pretty good. It did not take over. It took the whole summer, but I do remember that going into back to Columbia and going into the fall in which we play for September and October, right? My main mindset was to feel like you're swinging down, because for me it felt like I was chopping down, as if maybe I'm chopping wood, but it wasn't. For me, I was just swinging, I suppose, level, because I never felt it when I dipped And if I swung level, it actually felt like I was swinging down. And I'm not quite sure if that makes sense, but
all that matters, Joe, is it makes sense to you. That's all that matters.
But that's the best way I could describe of why I was dipping so much leading up to the beginning of the senior year, and how I got myself out of that knot I really got myself into, you know.
Great to see you. Glad you could join us.
How's it going? Thrilled to see everybody.
Well, as we're looking at Columbia batting in the second inning right now, trying to go up against Enrique Sosa. And you know what was interesting, Brett? This was the first right-hander that you had seen, because, you know, they threw a lot of lefties at your lineup, which is understandable. Did that change the mindset at all entering this game, going up against a right-hander from what you recall, or does it change the team's mindset in general?
It might change some of our left-handers' mindsets, you know, individually, but it doesn't. I don't think it changes anything from a team standpoint. You know, that's. I think our guys, you know, it's really interesting because I've never seen this video of the game either, and it's really interesting to see how you can. Our guys are locked in at the plate, like really, really good right now. It's you know, you can just there's an aggressiveness approach, you know, that you can tell they all have right now. Even though Dave Vandercook just struck out back, you know, looking at the backdoor slider, Dave, you probably could have fouled that off, but he did hit a long foul ball with a, you know, almost got his 5th postseason home run right there off of Sosa. But no, I think these guys, you know, they don't. I don't really think it bothered them who was on the mound. You know, to be honest with you, you know, I really don't think it did.
Joe, I brought up earlier the fact that Gus Craig was hurt the previous night, so he was not in the lineup. And, you know, you were normally the designated hitter and then moved out to left field in this game. What do you remember about having to make that adjustment? And why do you think it was so beneficial to this team that guys like you were versatile enough that you could be moved around in the lineup and on the field in the blink of an eye?
Oh yeah, well, we were always kept on our toes, you know, just ready to stay in at any point, kept in shape, and always, you know, we started the games just hoping to get in the game and expecting to get in the game. And I don't really remember ever really sitting down in that dugout. Come to think of it, you know, during about any of the innings, not just that game, but I think that was the game. So the game before that, there was a pop fly to left field, a shallow pop fly, right? And Hayward's brother was out there and he lost it in the clouds. And his name's Hayward. And
yeah, Jacob Hayward, you're right.
And he couldn't see it. And it was like the same exact time, I think it may have even been the same inning, that the next day, like maybe exactly 24 hours later, I was in the outfield. And there was a shallow pop fly. And I remember it looked shallow coming off the bat. And I completely lost it once it got above the stands and into the sky. And I was just judging of how it came off the bat. I wasn't quite sure where it was. And Vandercook told me later, he goes, "Doug, I had the ball the entire time. You didn't need to try and like jump in and, you know, overcompensate." And I do remember that play. I'm not quite sure what inning it was though, but it was pretty early on in the game.
I'll put a plug in here for Coach Walsh working with Joe in the outfield all the time. Coach Walsh can't be with us, and he always said that Joe's fine. He's capable of being out there. He'll be out there, and I tell you what, man, all the work that he put in, stepped in, no problem, nothing, you know, it was like he was out there the whole year.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, listen, it was good seeing you, good speaking to you, and we're going to hear more from you later on as we welcome in some of your other teammates in the lineup, as we see Will Savage pop up, Randall Kanemaru, back-to-back Ivy League Rookies of the Year for Coach Brett Beretti. So that paid off in terms of the recruiting trail. And now we're getting the two of those to smile. See, I like it when we got smiles across the board. We're reminiscing and thinking about the good times. Randall, Will, good to see both of you. Hope everything is well. How are we doing tonight?
Good. Doing well. Nice to see everyone.
good.
Especially
to see
some
everybody.
old guys. Especially like Logan. Haven't seen that guy in like years.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good.
What's up, Coach.
Good. Randall, you see you just struck out?
Yeah, that
Chased
was
the ball down out of
bad.
the zone, man.
Sosa owned me.
Randall talked about Sosa for like 2 to 3 more years after this.
Oh,
He didn't like Sosa.
I hated that guy. Probably a nice kid. I just could not hit anything against him. It was awful.
Well, you weren't alone because he certainly set the tone through the first 4 innings, but you guys finally solved him in the 5th as you were able to make an indent on him. And we'll certainly see that coming up. Is for those of you watching this simultaneously with our chat, we are in the bottom of the 2nd, still scoreless between Columbia and Miami, as Bryce Barr now getting his second go around against this Miami order. David Thompson up at bat. Just a very strong lineup that this Hurricanes group showcased. But you two contributed to a dangerous Lions lineup. And Will, I know that you were with the Tigers minor league system for quite some time. I'm curious what you're up to right now to update the audience, because you certainly were very well invested in the next level of your baseball career. But where is your journey taking you today?
Not very far. No. Well, the minor league season's been canceled. The MILB, and then almost all independent leagues have been canceled. There are a few independent leagues going on, or independent league teams going on, not full leagues. My team was not one of the teams that is playing, so I'm not playing, which is obviously unfortunate. But worse things could happen, so I'm all right.
It's all about perspective, as you put it.
Yeah.
Randall, you were jokingly talking about how you couldn't solve Enrique Sosa. What do you remember specifically about the scouting report going into this game, knowing that it was a must-win situation, and why this would have been perhaps a challenge for you and your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, as far as scouting reports go, I know every time before the game, like Coach Beretti has a scouting report and whatnot. I'm probably not the only one that can – I know I'm not the only one that can attest to this, but a lot of the numerical values on the scouting report are usually wrong. There can be like a lot of other stuff about like how he uses his slider and all that, which is
Randall, you know what accountability means, Randall?
Yeah, I think he asked me a question. Wait, hold up. So,
wow. Woo, things are spicing up here. All right, let's go.
No, but I don't know, just the way that I like to hit, like earlier, like in high school and stuff, I would always overthink. So like I would take some of the stuff that coach would say and what my teammates would say, like I would obviously like take that into account. But when I'm up there, I'm mostly not trying to think at all. Just trying to see the ball and hit the ball. The only problem with Sosa is that all his stuff moved. None of his stuff was straight. And so I also can't really see the ball at night, which probably went into it. But things are just moving all different directions. I couldn't put the bat on the ball. But once it got out there, I was definitely happy. So.
I can tell you, I remember one thing from before that game, which I think a few of us have talked about over the years, is that, wait, did we just turn a double play here? I kind of missed it. Coach, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember we had our little meeting down the line.
I remember what you're going to say.
Yeah. And
that's about the only thing I remember from this game.
You remember, what do you remember saying? I just remember saying that, I really almost missed that ball. Now I'm looking at it. That wasn't textbook at all.
Like the one in the 5th inning.
What do you remember it as, Will?
I remember you saying that, on paper we're a little overmatched, or not. You didn't say overmatched, but you said, we're at a disadvantage on paper in terms of what we have left, and they got a good roster over there, but they walk around like their shit don't stink. I don't like that. So let's go out there and just play out of your fucking minds. That's what I remember. And I remember, but it was I think that was the attitude that, yeah, they have a good team, but we have a good team too, and we all knew we could play up and down the lineup. I don't think there was any question that we knew what we were capable
I
of.
think
Especially look at this back of this year, like first weekend of the year, taking 2 games from Houston, who was number 6 in the country, I believe, at the time, or something like that. It's not like this was a Cinderella story by any means. I don't think any of us felt that way.
Right. No, and I think a lot of it goes back to you guys just saw we were talking earlier prior to the game starting about just the belief aspect, you know. You got to over believe if you want to overachieve, right, Will?
Exactly.
You know? It's so true, you know, and you guys did, you know, and you got to be able to do that to put yourself in a position to be successful. And then you carry Randall around on your back. So then you know, it all works out.
Oh yeah. That was easy. That was the easiest job freshman year. I was one that hit less than 300. Everyone else just driving all the runs. Just play a little bit of defense here and there. That's all.
Well, and we saw a little bit of you guys flash in leather as Will was commenting on the 4-6-3 double play that you pulled off. It was one of a few in this game. What do you attribute to why the two of you had such good chemistry on the defensive side of the ball?
The Asian thing, probably.
Honestly, I was about to say that too, but.
Well,
yeah,
listen, guys, it was great seeing you and catching up. We're going to hear from the two of you as we move forward here, but thanks so much for weighing in.
Yeah, thanks, Lance.
Thanks, Will. Bye, Randall.
As we see, speaking of defense, first baseman Nick McGuire pop up on our screen, and we saw Nick grab a nice ball at first base earlier in the broadcast as we're now moving into the third, so we're seeing Columbia bat. But Nick, good seeing you. How's everything on your end?
Hey, Lance, Coach, good to see you guys.
What's up, Nick? How are you?
Good, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Where you at?
I just moved out here to Washington, D.C. I was actually planning on hitting some games this spring, but obviously that's a little nixed. But I got 3 years here, so hopefully I can sneak up anytime and catch you guys. So
awesome.
I look forward to that.
Thanks.
And I appreciate Lance mentioning defense because I just noticed we're like 60 games into the season. I think I'm hitting 231. Yeah, so I appreciate the hookup on your end there.
Nick, I do everything I can to help make the resume look a lot more attractive than maybe what it appears on paper. But here, I want to give you another nugget to our audience in all seriousness. And I was doing a little homework. One error you committed, I don't know if you remember this entire season. That's how good you were on the defensive side of the ball in 2015.
I got to thank Coach Mackey for that one too. We were hitting fungos, I think, before ECU, and he came out. He rattled me a little bit pregame when I was maybe fielding a couple off to my side. So I think it was this tournament that my memory's kind of shot, but I believe it was this tournament where I committed that error. So, but bounce back, of course.
You did indeed. And you were joking about your average. Well, this is the game to highlight your hitting ability, Nick, because this was a game you went 3 for 3. I mean, you were the guy in this game. You were the one that made sure that everybody else followed what you did with the bat.
Right. Yeah, I think.
He's got down the line right there too. Look at that. You see that 90?
Yeah, you see that 90 right there? I think it might have been Joe. I think that's his name. The umpire there at first base. He might have helped me out a little bit. It's good to have an umpire from the Northeast down there on the first base line, but. That was probably the only infield single I've gotten in 4 years there.
Well, you were certainly stepping on the gas as we are watching you hustle down the first base line and got the nice safe arrival as you started to try to get into Enrique Sosa in this frame, even though he did have 7 strikeouts in those first 4 innings. But, Nick, we mentioned how the lineup moved around a little bit in this game. What do you remember at all, when Gus Craig got hurt and how that, changed different roles for various players, such as not necessarily yourself, but, guys that obviously you went to battle with each and every day?
Yeah. I mean, first I'll preface it with, I got to tell you, Lance, I don't know if it's my memory or just me, but baseball to me feels like another lifetime. So I'm trying to remember this stuff as I go here. But what I do remember is there's so many guys in this lineup that were so versatile. I mean, guys that played multiple positions. I mean, I think I hit anywhere from 2 through 9 in the order. And that wasn't just exclusive to me. I mean, we had a lot of guys who could do that. And so, I mean, it was like the same thing when you talk about a year prior when Spear had to get into appendicitis. It was like, hey, let's get the next guy up there, because everybody was already primed to be in that position. And that's one of the big things now that I see it from the military perspective, is like, you never go into a situation that you haven't prepared for. And I felt like we had prepared for all these situations before. So when Gus did go down, it was like, next guy fills that void and carries on.
Well, and that was something that, Brett, you touched on too, in terms of the freshmen stepping up specifically on the mound in this game. It's just another game, another day, because you basically wove that into the fabric of this team over those years.
Well, I think these guys did a heck of a job doing that too. I mean, I think Logan hits it really good on the head earlier when he talks about Bryce being the right guy for this start. You know, that's you know, that's something that is really unique, and that you have somebody like that. But you know, Nick is very humble about his leadership over his time here and his play. You know, there's, you know, if you Nick is a presence on each of the teams that he was on here, in the leadership and the vocalism, you know, that he displayed. You know, stuff like that just continues to go a long way, you know, to the younger guys, to the team at hand. But you know, and that's why he's in the position he's in today. I mean, it's remarkable, you know, that the qualities of a person like that, and just we're fortunate to have, you know, this group of guys. There were a lot of leaders. You know, you can never have enough leaders, you know, and that's just you know, I think it speaks to what we were able to do.
As we're getting into the second go-around of the Columbia lineup, for those of you watching along with us, is Jordan Serena up with 1 on and 2 outs in the third. And Nick, what Brett was just talking about in terms of your leadership, how much, you know, as you became an upperclassman on this team, did you take on that responsibility with pride that, you know, I need to guide some of these younger guys along, such as the Will Savages, the Randall Canimarus, and so forth? How much did you feel you needed to take on that responsibility?
Yeah, I definitely felt it. I would say probably starting my junior year, when you start to get to an upperclassman, and then being a captain my senior year. But it was easy because you know, you bring up the 2 examples of Will and Randall. I mean, 2 guys that just the highest character that you're going to find, and that's what we recruited. And that model that coach had is, you know, we're going to recruit the best talent we can, but they also have to have character too. And so that made my life easy. And the leaders on the team. I mean, I think every single guy on the team was a leader in their own way. And there was a lot of mutual respect for one another throughout the whole time that we were in that upperclassman position. But you know, the goal was always to make sure that you left the team, you know, a better place than you had it when you got it. And that started from my first days at Columbia, you know. And you talk about guys that hand the team off to you, and you know, the Alex Blacks, the Nick Farisis, Nick Crusette, Tim Giel, and even a guy I didn't play with, who, you know, I bring up, who we lost recently, Alex Uricchio. I mean, I never played a single game with him, and yet he passed off his number 30 to me, and it was like we had maintained friendship literally up until the day he unfortunately passed away, where he came out and stayed with me in Hawaii in January of this year. And that's the kind of bond that I think a lot of these, that the program has, because we always joke about the hashtag, the program, but it's more than that. And it's a real family atmosphere. I remember our senior year, we picked the word love, and there was so much love amongst all of us that there was no attitudes or prima donnas on the team where it was hard to get everybody to get on the same page, essentially.
Well, and I think it's only appropriate based on the fact that we see all of you guys show up tonight to want to take in this event. Speaks volumes to what you just talked about, Nick. So there's no doubt about that. And it was, you know, great catching up with you. We'll certainly hear more from you, Nick, moving forward. But once again, thanks for weighing in and providing some insight as we see your teammate, David Vandercook, now
Cookie
pop up on the screen, as David also played an integral role on this team whether it be from a defensive standpoint as well as from an offensive standpoint. Dave, how's everything on your end?
Oh, it's great, Lance. Thanks for having me on. Hey, Coach, what's happening?
Hey, Dave. Dave, I was just kidding about the backward strikeout. All right.
No,
a little outside. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. The lighting, who throws a curveball there, whatever.
So I think before we get your mindset on this game, I think we need to address the elephant in the room, Brett. And that's the fact that Dave went to the dark side within Ivy League baseball. Okay. I feel like we have to address that somehow, Brett. Come on. I mean, he goes.
I don't want to talk about it, Lance.
He joins Dartmouth's coaching staff. Come on, Brett. I mean, listen, I don't want to say that these guys are not guided in the right way after their careers end at Columbia, but come on. I mean, what's that all about here?
I think he figured things out after a little while. It's all right. We all have to go through some of those times and days.
Yeah. I'll just let you know I gave away everything I had to all my friends who played there. So we're free. Get all my shirts at homecoming. So bleed Columbia blue. That's for sure.
Well, in all seriousness, how tough was it to not try to rub it in while you were there at Dartmouth, considering, I mean, you and the rest of your teammates had their number for all the years you played here.
Yeah, and I actually had two guys from my high school play at Dartmouth. So they went to the championship every single year and came back, long bus ride to Hanover empty-handed. And in the office at Dartmouth, they had those the championship game brochures and everything. And every time I walk in, I'm like, again, like, why you guys have that up? But I'm happy every time I walk in. I get to see, I think Jordan was on the one, Dave Spear, Silbar, like every single day. It's like, sweet.
Oh, man.
Well, in all seriousness, though, it is good to see that you're branching out in terms of your coaching prowess in your post-playing career. So I'm very happy to see that and hear that as well. So what do you remember, Dave, from this game, knowing how big it was, the fact that you had played a game earlier to knock off Florida International, and a huge opportunity to force a decisive game the following night against this Hurricanes team?
Yeah, it's funny because they were talking on the broadcast at the very beginning. They were talking about fatigue from us, and it's like, we play doubleheaders every weekend. We got to sit in the AC. I think there was AC in the weight room. It was just, and like Will alluded to earlier, like we were freaking ready to go. And it's, not, I don't remember much. Like everybody keeps saying, like, remember, I think the bottom of the ninth, like. But, you kind of go through everything and it's just like, yeah, we're here. Like, we're going to have good at bats. We're going to throw strikes. We're going to play D. Like, it was just, in a sense, another game for us. And, we get to, like, continue our season.
Well, you certainly accomplished that and then some, as we're now seeing you and your teammates bat in the fourth with this game still scoreless. And speaking of your teammates, Rob Paller popping up on the screen. Rob, good to see you. How's everything on your end?
What's going on, guys? How are you? Hey, Dave.
What up, Rob?
How are you?
I'm doing all right. I broke my hamate bone the other day, so I got surgery in the morning. But I'm all right.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no big deal. A little setback.
All right.
See, I'm a big fan of having Rob on the screen here, and I do hope that you're recovering well, Rob, from the surgery. But it's nice to have a fellow Brooklynite within the boxes here, okay? Because Rob and I can relate with our Brooklyn, New York ties. He made a name for himself in that borough before he came to Columbia. And, we were talking about this, Brett, earlier, the fact that, Rob, this is a game in which you extended your on-base streak to 35 games. So, you were really in the zone. What do you remember, not just about this game, but about that entire 2015 run for yourself?
Just trying to, grind out pitches, not give anything away, have good at bats. And it was coming off a really good summer, and I think that sort of helped me dial in my approach. But yeah, man, it was easy. We had a really good lineup, just so nobody wanted to pitch the Gus, so I got all the heaters, and yeah, that's it.
You know, it's a Dave. You made a great play to end the inning. You know, getting the short hop and coming through. Nick had a nice stretch. Rob, you look so comfortable at the plate. It just looks, you look so comfortable. You know, it's one of those things. It's fun for me to watch. You know, you guys all with just the way you look and everything. I mean, really impressive. It really is.
You look great in the third base box, Coach.
Absolutely. No disrespect, Mr. Coach Tisch, but there's something about looking down third base and seeing Mr. Head Coach there.
You guys are funny. You're funny.
Well, we did see a shot of Brett on the broadcast earlier, so they've already focused in on his ability to man third over there as you guys ran around the bases. Rob, the other thing that I think is important for our audience to know is the fact that, you know, you have had quite the journey since leaving Columbia, now that you're a member of the Israeli team, and you had an opportunity, it looked like, to compete in the Olympics this year. Unfortunately, postponed the year because of the coronavirus. But what has it been like, you know, being a part of that team and having hopefully an opportunity to compete in the Olympics next year?
Oh my God, it's wild. I mean, this game that we're watching was the best baseball experience I had. And then I went to Bulgaria and Lithuania and Germany and Italy and qualified for the Olympics. And it's like, well, that might top this, but I'm pretty excited. It was actually a Columbia connection through Eric Holtz. Brett Holtz is at Columbia now, and I got a DM on Instagram asking if I was Jewish, and I was like, yeah, I'm Jewish. Let's go. And they flew me out to Israel, and I got my citizenship, and it's been really cool playing with like we got Ian Kinsler, Danny Valencia, a couple other big league guys, and yeah, it's been awesome. Danny Valencia, same high school as Dave Vandercook, I believe.
That's right, baby. I broke his bat in a alumni game when I was a sophomore. Just so you know.
Claim the fame.
And,
oh, absolutely. I still had it hanging up, but you know, I kind of moved around quite a bit since, so I don't know what happened to that bat.
Rubbed it in Danny a little bit. The University of Miami alum. So
there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing. It's a small world in terms of all the connections that you have across baseball. Quite the story.
No, it is. It is.
We played against Jordan and Will, and I was in left field and I caught them relaying signs to each other.
Come on, Rob. We didn't do that. Never.
Oh man. Well,
What
are some of the things that you guys remember about, you know, their team? Was there anything that stood out about what they were doing or what they did? Because I just remember in pregame, they were half going about 50% and just thinking game was over. You know, when they were taking infield, outfield, they were all screwing around. You know, it was like you're just gonna roll over this team in the other dugout here. That's what made it so great. And right now in the fourth inning, we're at 0-0 is when, you know, after the second time they go through the order and they don't get anything offensively is when they start pressing. You know, and that's when you can sense it, you know, from our dugout, you know, that they're all getting tight now.
100%. And that's, you know, it was cool for me, like being a South Florida guy. Like I remember going to the U for regionals, super regionals growing up. The first baseman I played with in high school, like played with some of the pitchers. Yeah, it's like just the way they'd like talk to you, like even in passing, it was a little bit different that night. Mm-hmm. For sure. And, you know, like whatever it was just remember it being easy and, you know, easy to just go about what we did. You know, hit a bunch of foul balls because I missed a lot of barrels doing that. But, you know, just enjoy. I don't know. I freaking enjoyed it the entire time there. Like, regardless what happened, like, it was so much fun. Like, and that's what I think set us apart. That's how we had all that success.
Right. Well, it's because you guys were fearless. You know, you guys didn't. There was no fear. You know, it's one of those things. There's nothing to lose. There's only things to gain. But I think it's more than even that, though. You guys were looking to gain. You weren't just going to throw it up. But there's just when you have a fearlessness about you, you know, when you have a bunch of guys that have that mindset, you can do anything. You know,
I remember clearly the game after this. Right as we're taking the field, Mike Weisman looked me in the eye and dead ass serious was like, "We're gonna beat him." And then we lost by like 37 runs. But like, that was a man on a mission. We were ready to go. You know, he believed it.
That's it. And we believed it too. Why wouldn't we? You know, why wouldn't we? But no, this is fun. Oh, Randall's up again. Let's see what Randall does.
Well, and it's only appropriate because we got the two guys with us now on base right now, with you guys threatening with 2 outs in the 4th, as Sosa had collected a number of strikeouts up to this point. But, you know, this is where you put a little pressure on him, as we're still scoreless in the 4th inning. And, you know, just listening to the three of you go back and forth about, you know, that fearlessness, that relentlessness, you know, as covering the team over the course of the years, every time you trailed in a game, I would always say this is far from over, because you had that identity that you built in terms of never digging yourselves too far in a hole, or regardless of the opponent, whatever it be, because you guys just always found ways to battle through. And I think one key identity for this team, we talked about the comebacks, we talked about, you know, the ability to close out opponents. I would say also clutch hitting. Clutch hitting is what defined your runs from 2013 to 2015. David, you had clutch hits. Haller, you had clutch hits. I mean, you all guys could look back at key moments that I'm sure jump out to you in that regard.
And everybody talks about, you know, like being gritty and you're never out of it. But that stuff, obviously that stuff goes a really long way, but we could swing the bat. We were a really good lineup, and like we got hits, you know. It's not like we were just working counts and fighting pitches off and then 2 walks and an error. It was like, no, we're always one swing of the bat away from, you know, being in a ball game, and that's what made this lineup so dangerous.
I agree. Top to bottom, you know, top to bottom. And it could, you know, like we talked earlier, was we had a physicality about us, but then we had a speed factor in there too, you know, which is really unique. You know, it's really hard to get all of that, you know, in a lineup, you know, at a place like ours. And we, you know, it was a perfect storm. It really was, you know, for this group of guys. You know, Rob, is this the year is this the Texas A&M home run year, or is that the following year?
I think that was the year before.
It was the year before.
Okay. That's still one of the best balls I've ever seen hit in my life.
My first college homer.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Announce your presence with authority. Oh man. Oh, Randall struck out. Jeez.
Coach, that was an unbelievable at bat. Nibbling on the corners, he's fighting it off. Freaking, he's throwing 70 pitches in 4 innings. It was incredible.
Randall and I have a good relationship. At least we did heading into tonight. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
We'll have to salvage it throughout the course of this program, we should mention, as a side note, as we now got through 4 innings and Randall pops up. We'll keep him on mute. Okay, now we'll take him off mute just to be cautious and careful.
Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to be on for like 3 innings, but Mike just threw me in here, so.
Well, Mike's a troublemaker. That's the only reason why. So it's understandable.
But yeah, watching that back, I shouldn't have struck out. That was bad. He hung that.
Randall,
battle. You were battling.
Oh, now
Yeah,
you're
you're
nice to me
fine.
when I'm on here. I'm still in the chat. I can hear everything you say. So.
All right, Randall. Well, we will check in with you a little bit later on. And thanks to Rob and David for checking in as well. We'll hear from them throughout the course of the program. But we're bringing back the arms because this is now the turning point of this game as we enter the 5th inning. And so far, it has been quite the showing for Columbia as we joined by Bryce Barr again, who we heard from earlier. And we're in the bottom of the 4th. I'm rushing things along a little bit. Harrison Egley, we're seeing for the first time as well. So, Harrison, we welcome you in. How's everything on your end?
Things are going pretty great. Thanks for having me. How are you guys all doing?
Doing well. How are you, Harry?
Doing well.
Surviving up in Boston. Gotta love it.
Bryce, Brett brought up an interesting point about how when Miami goes through the lineup for the second time and they're not having success, they tend to get a little bit more pressed. What did you sense? What did you feel? Because now we're starting to see you go up against the batters for the second time. Where did your confidence go knowing, hey, I got through them the first time. Why can't I then be just as successful the second time around?
Yeah, I think what it was is, my changeup was just getting better as the game went on. My shoulder was starting to bother me a little bit, so I dropped my arm slot down. I know Coach Mackey will remember me telling him this, but I dropped it down a little bit, and it's getting a little more aggressive every time I threw it, and they were swinging over it. So, we were just doing what we knew worked, and we just kept throwing changeups.
Harrison, what was it like from what you recall? Because you didn't pitch in this game, but you certainly contributed to the other games in this tournament. Watching what Bryce did as somebody who, had a knack for closing out games throughout the course of your career. What was it like being a spectator in a contest like this?
It was very interesting for sure. I almost, from what I remember, it kind of felt like I was out there on every pitch in terms of I couldn't stay in the dugout. If you'll see, Zach's warming up in this inning, and I immediately went down to go help communicate signs because I couldn't sit still. I needed to be out kind of doing something to help the team. And so I decided to go down to the bullpen and help kind of communicate because as Falcone, I think, said earlier, no one's sitting in the dugout this entire game. And I couldn't even stand still up against the fence. I had to get up and deal with those nerves. And I just remember watching Bryce go through it, and it was incredible. He's got this changeup, and somehow over 4 years of pitching together, he never taught me. So
you guys didn't share secrets with one another? Is that what happened?
Yeah, we tried to. I could just never make it work.
He tried to teach me how to throw hard, and that never worked either. So
fair trade.
Oh man. Nah, it's you look cool and calm and nothing bothering you out there, man. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, I remember the fans right behind home plate there. You could see them right there, but I almost just blurted out. It was special. That's for sure. The changeup too. I don't think I've ever thrown a better set of changeups than this game.
Well, the other thing too is I don't know if you haven't thrown a ball waist high yet. I mean, everything is down knee and below. Nothing easy for anybody to elevate. And
I remember working with Mackey before the game. Trying to reach that glove side, making sure we hit that because that'd be good on these left-handed hitters, and we tied up Thompson early on with it. So
yep.
Or not Thompson, Collins. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Well, that was the heart of the Miami order, the two guys that you just mentioned. And this was really the first inning where, they tested you a little bit, Bryce, because through the first 3 innings, even though you had a runner on, you still faced the minimum thanks to the defense. But, this now, to me, is the frame that speaks volumes of you and the rest of your teammates in terms of, okay, backs against the wall, little bit of pressure, but still finding ways to escape and work out of that trouble.
Yeah, definitely. once again, our defense was, I mean, it's probably the best I've ever played with. Vandercook at the hot corner, McGuire at first, Savage and Randall up the middle. It was just like nothing would get past those guys. If it did, it was a good chance Rob and Jordo and Gus would run down, any other balls. So, I mean, we had the utmost confidence in our defense.
And we heard from a lot of them so far throughout this watch party, all reminiscing and weighing in. And speaking of defense, very close play at first base that we just watched, as another great play off of the left side of the field, but Iskandarian beat it out. So here they have 2 on, 1 out. And, this is once again an example of Miami not getting much of anything off of you, Bryce, because all of these things are infield hits, walks. That's the one thing when you look back at this performance, you made them earn anything that they hope to get in terms of any production on the base paths.
Yeah. And we had pitchers chart in the stands every game. And Coach Mackey would, track barrel percentages and stuff like that. And I mean, it was probably the lowest I've ever had all season. So, I mean, his game plan with my, with what I threw, fastball, changeup, it was just the perfect storm, as Coach Beretti said earlier.
So Miami,
yeah, you had pitched earlier in the day, correct?
Yeah, I think I threw.
Oops, sorry guys.
I think I threw 2 against FIU. So I wasn't available for this game for sure.
Right.
So I remember being a little wiped before we even started. Everyone's saying they weren't tired. The heat got to me a little bit.
That was hot. It was hot during that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the day games out on that field were brutal for sure. So.
Yeah, you went 2 2/3 in that game against Florida International. Brett, let me ask you this. Speaking of, Harrison talking about, maybe being a little worn out, how much did the pitchers campaign to you throughout that weekend from what you recall? Meaning guys may have appeared to be tired, but they still wanted to get back out there and maybe tried to convince you, hey, use me for an inning tonight. I'm okay. Did that come up much of anything?
I mean, we used Adam Klein numerous times.
Yeah.
The thought, George would have taken the ball if we wanted to do that on Monday, but with his pitch numbers, what he did on, Friday, we didn't think that was, situationally, we would have used them on Monday, if it came up, but we didn't think it was going to be good for him to give him the ball to start that game. So he definitely was ready to go. No, I mean, I think, we used, I know we used three guys in the second win, Ty, Harrison, Adam, I believe, closed it out. We used Kevin, Mike Weisman, and Ryan Marks in the first Miami game. And then ECU, George, Adam.
I think that was it.
Was that it?
Yeah, I think we just handed it off and
just the 2 of them.
Okay. All right. So, it's pretty, I mean, that's that's a pretty good job of guys taking care of business, but I don't know, Eggs, what do you take the ball the next day? Were you ready to, how'd you feel on Monday?
Oh, I felt great on Monday. I remember Coach Mackey coming up to ask, like, hey, we need you first or second out of the pen today. And my arm could have been falling off that day. I mean, that was regional final. I was going to throw no matter what. And I think I threw my last pitch of the season into the backstop because I literally couldn't get the ball down anymore. Right. So, but I wasn't going to stop myself for sure.
Right. And that's the type of crew, that we had was, again, all hands on deck. And at that point, and let me see who, give me the ball, try to do my best to get 3 outs and move on, so, well, it's 3-2, 1 out, first and second. Barry keeping the ball down. Do you remember what happens here, Bryce?
I don't recall.
I don't either.
I think it's a double play. Ooh.
Well,
I think you guys are ahead of me a little bit.
Yeah, everybody's at a different pace.
Okay, I'm sorry. I won't say
Respect
anything.
to the connection. Brett, you can't give away the secrets here. Come on, we're trying to anticipate what's going on. Don't ruin it.
I mean, the lineup you're facing is pretty potent, no question about it. And a baby.
Change up down.
Got it. No, I mean, between the catching and DH combo that they had, and then you throw Ixadarian in there, and then you throw this guy in there.
Yeah.
They 83 RBIs in the year, David Thompson.
Yeah. That stat lines, that's one you see on the scouting report. And I know Randall was talking about not seeing numbers earlier, but you see that on the scouting report and you're like, all right, I got to be a little bit more careful from a pitching perspective.
Coach probably won't be too mad if I just work around him.
First and third, free base.
Let's see what we do here. First and third, 2 outs. They gonna run? They gonna run it all?
I do not remember any of this.
Got him jammed.
And a boy, Will.
Giving away the secrets a little bit.
Was that jammed or was that off the top of the bat? That had some good English on it.
It's all the same thing to the pitcher. It's an out.
This is where tell you guys you're starting to smell it a little bit, you know? The fifth inning, 0-0.
And we just got through the heart of the top of the order too.
Yep. Feeling good.
Yeah. I always remember every dangerous situation for an opponent always being an opportunity for us in terms of first and third, 2 outs, best hitter up, Bryce gets out of it. And that we had such great energy in that team where immediately our entire dugout lit up.
Yeah.
Feel like
everybody
a momentum shift.
Yeah.
Because it's an opportunity every time something like that happens.
No question. Sure. Everybody's on every pitch. You can tell looking at him that he's all PO'd right now, which every hitter gets that way, but you can tell as a team that there's a little bit of a deflation going on.
Mm-hmm.
But you're exactly right. Defense sustaining the momentum, and here we go. I don't even know. Is this the inning that we score in? Top of the 5th? Is it?
This is the key inning.
So.
How about that? There you go.
This is the turning point frame as Jordan Serena pops back up with us. And Bryce and Harrison, it was good catching up with you. We'll certainly hear from more on your front as we move forward. Logan Boyer rejoins us as well because they had the key involvement in this frame. And there's the first base hit that we see as now the bats start get going against Sosa because, as I mentioned, Sosa had struck out 7 over the first 4 innings. And then all of a sudden now, 5th inning, you guys just seem to get into rhythm. So, we'll start with you, Logan. Why was this frame so critical? And how much do you think that it helped that you had seen Enrique Sosa a few times to maybe get a little bit more comfortable in terms of what he was offering?
Yeah, I mean, first off, it started, all with Bryce shutting down the top of their lineup. That was a huge momentum swing. And my first at bat, he threw me about 6 of those, and I swung and missed every time. So I knew he's probably going to throw it again. First pitch, so and I got lucky and smoked her out to left field.
Go.
So we got 1 on with nobody out. So now, Nick, you're up in the box here. And this is a key turning point because it seemed as if this was a routine fly ball, and Nick Jacob Hayward did not cooperate with the baseball there. So you took full advantage of that gift.
Yeah, I tell you what, I remember being there at first base with Tish thinking that this was a turning point because it was such a free hit for me, and coming out after Logan already got on base. Now we got nobody out, runners on first and second. I knew we were in a good spot because I think Kenny's coming up here soon. Oh, who's that? Will? Yeah, we got Will, and then I think eventually John. And yeah.
We were just talking about with Harry and Bryce about getting out of that inning on the defensive side. They hit the deep fly ball to you, Jordan, for the out number 2. got first and third. He swings at first pitch and caps it to Will. You know, you get off of there and everybody's filing out of the dugout all fired up, and here you go. You know, lead off. Logan gets the big leadoff hit, and we catch a break, you know, and now they're on their heels a little bit.
Yeah. That's something Coach always talked about with our team was just momentum all the time. You can see it happen here. Momentum and then missing the fly ball, momentum getting out of the inning. So, I mean, we had specific things we were going for momentum-wise, you know, among every game we played, but that was always something we paid attention to as a team, concentrated more on that than the score. So.
That's right.
So this is where Will trying to lay down a bunt to advance the runners. And you know, Jordan, I'm curious because as somebody that plays in the outfield, as we saw what happened with Jacob Hayward, do you remember it all in terms of the lighting and perhaps, you know, the different feel maybe in that ballpark compared to other ballparks you were in and how maybe it could play some games with you? Or did you not think that was an issue at all?
Well, I didn't clearly have an issue. I caught a fly ball just that previous inning. So, you know, every once in a while you get that when the sun has just gone down and the sky is still a little bright, but the lights are on. So once it gets above the lights, it kind of disappears. So, you know, that left field, center field view might be a different thing there. I don't really remember, you know, having an issue, you know, and our corner outfielders did a fine job too. So just one of those things that happens, went our way that time.
And you guys certainly took advantage as it's 2 on with nobody out here in the 5th, still scoreless. And this is where the momentum of the game really swung in favor of Columbia because Sosa just had so much trouble setting the tone as he hit Will there. So now all of a sudden we got the bases loaded up.
Yeah, I'll reiterate what Coach said last inning. It was like when we got out of that jam, I really think that was a turning point where it's like, hey, we got something going here because now we're, you know, 4 innings through. We've got Bryce on the mound. He's really, you know, working them hard. We were in a tough spot. I think it was like runners on first and second, either nobody out or 1 out. And then to kind of parlay that into this inning, now we got bases loaded, nobody out. I think this is where Jordan was just talking about momentum. This is kind of where that tide really started to swing.
Yeah, and what you guys were alluding to before, I mean, just the looks on their faces, you could just see the fear creep in. It was awesome. And you're on base. And I mean, it all started when they didn't score that run, and then we started creeping up, bases loaded, the pitching coach walking out. I mean, you could just see it. I mean, it was silent in there. I mean, I can remember that for those parts, but I mean, it's pretty cool to just be a part of it.
Yeah, especially the look on Iskandarian's sorry ass face too. That was good.
So now Jordan's up, and I mean, this is the key at bat.
Yeah, I don't remember what happens here. So
well, you'll slowly see the discipline, Jordan, that you showed in the box here because you did all the heavy lifting.
Well, that's a change. Chased a couple already this game.
You guys are rough on this.
Yeah, you know.
2-0.
All those curveballs I swung at kept me up at night all those years, you know. Too many of them.
How tall was Sosa anyways? Looks like he's 5'6" out there.
Yeah, not very tall. He was not tall.
Yeah,
I remember
like
feeling
5'5".
taller than him when
My
he was
height.
standing on the mound. Yeah.
My height.
He was chunky though too. I mean, look at those legs.
I remember he came out of the pen one of the prior years we played these guys. He was like their closer for a while.
Yeah, we had faced him, I think. I think you're right.
Yeah, we had
That was it.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I think it might have been our 2013 or 2013 we might have seen him out of the pen.
Okay.
We just saw another cutaway of Brett at third base. For those of you following with us at home, we'll have to keep a tracker in the upper corner how many cutaways they had.
The bases loaded walk.
Here it is.
4 pitches. Nice, Jordo.
Oh, nice.
Game winning
slightly ahead of me. Ooh, that was close.
I must have a bad server. I got about 2 more pitches till we get there. That's what happens when you live in Missouri.
My bad.
Hey.
Hold off the rest of the year.
Logan, I'm streaming this off an Xbox and Microsoft Edge. I don't know how I'm beating you, man.
Yeah. That's Missouri Wi-Fi for you.
Well, Logan, I promise you'll eventually cross home plate. It did happen. You'll see it.
Well, there's Jim Morris. You remember the Twitter beating he took after this game? I don't know if anybody remembers that one.
Yeah.
The fans were all over him.
Well, I think if you remember, the fans were also totally enamored with Bryce Barr during his post-game presser. I don't know if you guys remember that. I know people were weighing in. Who is this guy? Look at this. We lost to this guy. So, yeah, the Miami faithful, they had a rough night on that Sunday night. There's no doubt about it.
I think Coach Morris gave it to his team after the game too, if I'm not mistaken. I remember hearing.
Yeah.
They did. I remember that.
Can we hear him yelling? Yeah.
Yeah, they were screaming.
I think the grounds crew was that told Coach Walsh that like paint was chipping off the walls from the yelling in the locker room.
Yeah, and then they turned into the Boston Red Sox, and we're using the TV to steal our signs the next game. That's why we lost by 40.
I think that's the Astros you're talking about.
Is that a dig at me, Logs? Is that
Never, Coach.
Johnny Kenny.
There he is. This results in an RBI. I just forget how it happens.
Johnny Singles.
Gets a good piece of wood on it here.
Yeah.
John Kinney, another cool, calm, collective. You step up here and put a barrel on the ball real quick.
Yeah. There he is. There's Johnny Kinney hitting his first college home run in his last college game too, which is pretty cool.
It's pretty
One of the things I remember from the end there.
Yeah.
We got a 3-run homer versus Penn.
Try to back pick. Do you see that, Jordan, yet?
Yeah, bases loaded, all over it.
That takes some stones, no outs. I'm gonna go back pick here at first.
Yeah.
Wait, Coach B, was Coach Mackey saying that this catcher right here is in the Twins organization with him?
Did he say Kennedy or Collins? I forget which one.
I think he said Kennedy.
I thought he said it was Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy.
Yeah, he said he's in the bullpen with them.
Well, perfect timing. John Kinney has just popped up on our screen.
There he is.
There he is.
John, thanks for joining us. How's everything?
They're better than they were bet right there.
Oh,
Score a run.
Well, you drove it a run. You did the trick.
Yeah,
no right fielding that, John.
It all worked out.
That 5-4-3 made my run from third to home pretty easy right there.
How are you, John?
I'm great. This is awesome.
Good.
Good to see you, Johnny. Good to see you too, McGurd, Lobo. I haven't seen you guys in a while.
My man.
I know, it's been a minute.
Nice to kind of watch ball games together, halfway.
This might be the only baseball game that's aired this year now after this.
Well, there's not much competition tonight, I'll tell you that, with what's going on in Major League Baseball. So I think it's fair to say that whether it's taped, delayed, or whatever it may be, all eyes could certainly be on tonight's game. And John, before you stepped in, Brett was talking about how cool, calm, and collected you were. And, we were talking about Gus Craig was hurt the night before, so things changed up. You were inserted as the designated hitter. What do you attribute to being able to just step right in and, step in the box and be able to handle your business against a very dangerous Miami team just like that?
I mean, that's why I think we all played college baseball, is to play games like this. So I was just so fired up to see my name in the lineup. I was fired up that I didn't have to field. That was pretty cool. It was just awesome. I mean, this is why we all love playing with each other. And, this is what we all kind of came to Columbia for.
Well, this was a huge inning. As you saw, you guys played it 2 runs and pretty much never looked back from this point on because Miami had absolutely no answer as we're now making our way to the bottom of the 5th, in which the Hurricanes were trying to hopefully respond to what you guys put up on the top of the frame. And we'll certainly hear from Jordan, Logan, and Nick a little bit later on. Guys, always good seeing you go to work in terms of the 2015 game here as we now turn our attention to the pitching aspect. And we're now joined by 3 integral pieces, well, at least 2 right now for the time being, as we got Kevin Roy and Mike Weisman. And guys, good to see you. Appreciate you joining the conversation. How's everything on your end?
It's going good, Lance. Thanks for having us. What's up, Coach?
What's up, Kev? What's up, Mike?
Yeah, this is awesome.
That's awesome.
Great.
Well, let's start in terms of the 2 of you being a part of the 3 straight runs to the NCAA tournament, and this being sort of the pinnacle, going up against a highly ranked Miami team, getting the signature win. What do you guys remember when you look back at how much you individually contributed and the team overall in terms of being so consistent over that 2013 through 15 run?
I think the thing I think about is just like how many guys were involved in all of it. I mean, some aren't even on this team, especially when you talk about all 3 runs, guys going back like, Al Black and Spear, Fish, and, so many guys contributing to different parts of it. And I think though that kind of paved the way to give everybody enough experience in this particular tournament to, I think, be able to achieve as much as we did in 2015. Because I feel like, the consistent theme with everybody is being like, everyone's very comfortable being here, very confident. I think that just comes from kind of some previous year's success and being there before and knowing that we did belong there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was attributed to the schedules that we played. That was the first half of the season was always kind of, it was just a blast going and playing these teams. And I know, Coach, that was kind of a thought process of yours was let's go put ourselves against some of the best guys in the country. My first college appearance was pitching against Arizona. Coach Mackey put me in the game with the bases loaded, and they'd won the college national championship the year before. And so I think as a coaching staff and as an organizational whole, the whole mentality was let's go play the best guys that we can and see where we rank up. And, it pays off when we come playing regionals and things like that, because we know we can hang with those guys. And I look back and I really fondly remember a lot of those stadiums that we got to play at, some of the coolest places in college baseball. And it's a big part of the scheduling that we had. It was always really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Funny. So you were bases loaded at Arizona. That's your first experience.
Yeah. That was a fun one. I don't really remember too much about it. Probably wasn't thinking straight, but yeah.
What happened later that year?
I came in against Dartmouth and loaded the bases myself this time. I didn't have to come in. I did it myself. But that was I probably can attribute that to some of the experience I had against Arizona. But the one thing I remember from that whole outing was after I think I struck out whoever that big lefty was. No, I hit him with an 0-2 fastball. I hit was it who's that big lefty they had? He was also from Houston. I can't remember his name, but I put him on base, but ended up getting a ground ball up the middle and striking a couple guys out, and running back into the dugout. I was all fired up, and Al Black hit me in the chest so hard that he almost put a hole through my chest. But it was, that was definitely one of the better memories I have.
That's a riot, man. That's awesome.
Now, Kevin, you and Mike both pitched against Miami the previous night. What at all did you tell Bryce to help him and get him prepared for the lineup that you had pretty much gone against the previous night, if you recall any of those conversations?
I think part of it, I don't think I pitched too well. I was probably a little bit wild against that game. Those guys, it just makes what Bryce did in this specific game that much better. Those guys were swinging. They, coming up against a team like Columbia, those guys they had that air about them that they just wanted to beat the crap out of us. And you can use that to your advantage. And Bryce did such a phenomenal job of keeping guys off speed. And Coach Beretti mentioned it. He didn't throw a ball above the waist most of the night. And so I think that's part of what it was keep them off balance and, just go pitch your heart out. Like, what better place to do it?
I don't think I said anything. And if I did, it was definitely listen to whatever Coach Mack is telling me on how to. He was the puppet master out there telling us what to throw, when to throw it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I told him.
Him helps a lot.
Yeah.
Well, Bryce just got another double play to help him, and that was a huge storyline in this game. And it's something I'm sure, Mike, you and Kevin can attest to, the defense behind you guys. So reliable in key critical moments, not just in this game that we're watching, but really throughout your runs over those 3 years.
Oh, yeah, for sure. My favorite thing in the world is ground ball that I know is going to Cookie. He's just back over there. Just feel good about it immediately off the bat. You know what's going to happen. And then the outfield, guys running stuff down in the outfield. Ton of confidence. And then throwing to Logan, and most of my career throwing to Fisher. Both of those guys being obviously, good at receiving, but just the presence that they had back there, those are guys you want to be involved with.
Yeah, and I think just knowing that you can go up there and throw strikes, and if guys put the ball in play, it's not going to be an issue. Just letting your defense do the work for you, and definitely was never an afterthought about going out there on the mound and pitching, and it's a big part of why we won so many games when we were there.
I think also it's guys like playing behind guys who are good tempo in the zone. Two of the guys that we're talking to right now are guys that, we're on the mound competing their butts off, and the ball's in the zone, the ball's in play. It's not, we're not waiting around. I mean, two very fierce competitors that, want the ball, and guys love playing behind guys like that. No question about it. It's because the quicker you get outs, the quicker you get the hit.
Yeah,
guys like that.
Helping each other's cause. So we've got Bryce Barr with 2 outs here. Nobody on in the 5th inning as Columbia put 2 runs on the board in the top of the frame, and just getting the better of this Miami lineup time in and time out throughout the course of the first 5 innings, which is what makes this game so memorable. And when you look back, Kevin and Mike, watching what Bryce was doing, and I know you alluded to this, Kevin, earlier, it makes it even more impressive based on what happened the previous night. But, what was it about what Bryce had that day? Did you see something as a spectator? I mean, you know him well as a teammate, but was there something that was different about Bryce that day that maybe you guys had not seen previously?
I think it's not even about what was different. I think it's the way that if you put Bryce Barr on the mound, he was going to go out and pitch. And he was a really good guy and I'm sure, Bryce, if you're still on here, you can probably attest to this, but he kept the same mental and headspace pretty much anytime he came on the mound. I mean, he never had his lows were never too low and his highs were never too high. And I think in a situation like that, like this, that's all you can ask for. And so, it's not like we were watching in the bullpen and watching him just throw a lights out bullpen. He might have not even had a great bullpen for all that matters. But he just went out there and competed, and he was always one of those guys that would do that and never let any moment kind of get too big for him. So, I think a lot of people who were watching this were surprised at the outcome or caught off guard by how well he pitched. But, I think that speaks volumes into a lot of our teammates and a lot of the pitchers on the pitching staff. And other guys have mentioned this before. It was just like, hey, next guy up, who's gonna get the ball today and who's gonna throw well.
Well, and I agree with you because
Unreal
I think
that right here.
Yeah,
from
that too.
Like a 10, 11 pitches, he's throwing changeup after changeup after changeup, and he keeps just barely following him off. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is Willie Abreu up at bat for Miami, and full count, and
almost beat him with the fastball there.
handling his business.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
What do
And
you-
that, Kevin, is what made it so impressive.
Yeah.
The fact that you're right, from a national perspective, nobody gave this team a chance. Certainly, it's easy to overlook a freshman on the mound who had not pitched since April, yet you can really throw that all out the window, based on what he was able to do.
Yeah. And I go back time and again to the teams that we played throughout our years there. And of course, Bryce is a freshman in the situation. And it's just all about the setup. It's everything that we did in the preseason, who we played before, taking care of business in the Ivy League. This being the third time we were in this situation, that we progressed from a team as the first time we went to Fullerton my freshman year. We played good teams any regional we were in, but we saw ourselves evolve as a team from going to, hey, it's awesome. How cool is it that we get to play in a regional, to let's take some games off these guys. Like, we know we're good enough. And then here it's just like, let's win the damn thing. Like, there was never a doubt that we shouldn't be here. I mean, we fully expected at the beginning and the end of each season that we would be in a position like this. And if you ask any guy here, any guy on the staff in the lineup, our expectations were Omaha. It wasn't, I mean, obviously it was a step-by-step process, but the Ivy League championship, regional, that was a rung in the ladder. We wanted Omaha.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Kevin, because one of the things we have yet to bring up thus far tonight is, and I think many may forget, you were a number 3 seed in this year's regional. You were not a 4 seed. And what was interesting was, and we could sit here and play the coulda, woulda, shoulda game all we want, but VCU actually upset the other regional.
Right.
So if you would have knocked
We were
off
hosting,
Miami,
right? We were
you would
trying
have
to figure out where
hosted.
we would
Yeah.
host.
So, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we watched a lot of those. The selection shows were awesome. And, that year specifically, I remember because of the teams that we played, and we went down to Houston and beat them, took a couple games from them. And, all of the metrics that go into, I can't remember whatever that stat is, but I think it's RPI. I mean, we had some love for top 25 votes at one point. It was maybe 1 or 2, but people understood that, the Columbia Lions baseball program at this point in time was good. We were good. We were repetitively good for the last 3 years and for the future too. And so, same thing again, as like, we saw ourselves pop up as a 3 seed, and it was like, not, oh my God, we're a 3 seed. It was like, yeah, we're a 3 seed. Let's go.
Yeah, I remember one of the main driving forces for us to when the Ivy League keep playing, was literally to keep playing baseball. Especially me as a senior, was like, I don't want to stop doing this. Especially the way the schedule's set up, that's the best month of the year is when you win the Ivy League, and then you are hanging out just playing baseball, waiting for everybody else to figure out where you're going and everything. And then so I mean, yeah, disappointing to end it here, but it wasn't really. It was definitely in our mind, let's keep going, let's not end this thing. It was not a happy to be there mindset.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's awesome. That's awesome, guys. The things that you're saying. Now I think that your freshman year, Kevin, when we won some games at Arizona, or we won a game at Arizona, I believe, 3-game series. That was a huge turning point for the program overall.
Yeah.
Defending national champion,
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I remember one of the dads in the stands, it might have been my dad, I'm not sure, but a couple of the Arizona fans basically were like, who are you guys? Like, what business do you guys have coming down here and taking a game off us? So, right. I mean, we were competitive any game, especially in the next Miami game. We definitely got our behinds handed to us, but it was just kind of always like, we're going to play our hearts out, and big ethos of the whole Columbia baseball program for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, Mike, it was great catching up with you. We'll hear from the two of you a little bit later on. Thanks so much for joining us as we now welcome in 2 new faces. So we got Ryan Young, who was there calling the game for the Columbia Student Radio. And I believe somewhere hidden there is Danny Flores. Wow, look at this. What a treat. Danny, how we doing?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
What's up, Dan? How are you, man?
Hey, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm actually watching the Met game right now. Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing? You're on mute.
Ryan, I think you're on mute there.
There we go.
Now we go. There
Hey,
we go.
this silver lining to 2020. This is the only time all year you guys have to put up with me. We're looking for one.
You said it, we didn't, just for the record to say that. Look at you, by the way, dolling up the background of all people. You know, the rest of us were in our normal places. You've got to put together an entire graphical, a whole setup behind you.
Well, I didn't create the graphic, but I mean, there's only one guy here who's won, 5 championships in a Columbia uniform.
Oh. Excusez-moi. Excuse me. Wow.
Oh. We just missed Joey Falcone hitting the ball out to dead center on a shot to lead off, and Bryce struck out the guy to end last inning. So momentum's still going here, 2-0.
Absolutely, as that was going to be it for Bryce. So when we see in the bottom of the 6th, we'll see Zach Boehm come on the hill. David Vandercook is up. Ryan, let's start with you. You know, as somebody who broadcasted games, have covered this team for many, many years, what do you remember about this run? Also, as somebody who attended Columbia and how meaningful it was.
Well, for those who have no idea who I am, I was a senior during that year at Columbia, so let's just pretend I was a power hitter on the team. I kind of prefer that at this point.
Well, we could also play you off as a running back for the football team.
That's true.
That's another way to spin it, because Ryan Young does play football at Columbia.
Multi-sport
But go ahead,
athlete,
yes.
exactly. Yeah. But that was a crazy week for me. I told myself that if Columbia was on the East Coast, I was going to try to come down that week. So it was a mad scramble in a couple of days to get down there. I'm still thankful to Columbia Athletics and Peter Pilling, who was, the new AD at that point, who helped me get down there. And then, yeah, I mean, I was listening back to some of my calls there, and I was doing a lot of yelling. It was unexpected. In fact, I looked up an email that I sent to the radio station detailing what the programming was going to be like, and I said there's a 50% chance we'll play 3 games, a 40% chance we'll play 2 games, an 8% chance we'll play 4 games, and a 2% chance we'll play 5 games. So just keep that in mind. And I was working for the Mets at the time, and they got me VIP tickets to the Marlins Cubs game that Monday night, which I was planning on going to. And obviously there was a game 7 that night. I remember the first thing Coach Beretti said to me after that was I should have gone to the Cubs game. But it was a crazy experience. I also, by the way, I didn't pack enough polo shirts, so I had to buy this there because I wasn't expecting to do that for 4 days. But what I remember right about this point in the game how quiet it was, and how unfortunately I could hear your broadcast, taking over my broadcast. I'm sure I was a bigger problem for you since I was screaming much of the time. But yeah, I mean, the atmosphere was crazy. And I just if you think of the context of that game, again, Miami by runs per game, they were the 2nd best offense in the nation. And, Columbia's playing its 4th game of the weekend. After game 1, Coach Beretti couldn't tell us who was starting game 2, I think. And Bryce can confirm this, but he didn't find out he was starting till less than an hour before that game. You guys obviously talked about how those starters hadn't, the freshmen hadn't pitched in, nearly 2 months. And, it's incredible, what went on. 2-hit shutout. I listened back and I wonder why I was screaming the whole game. But then you think about that context. And as you guys were just saying, with VCU winning that night, there would have been an NCAA regional in Brooklyn the next week with Columbia hosting. It's crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think that. Absolutely. And Danny, somebody who, in my opinion, doesn't get enough credit, all the heavy lifting that you do for the Columbia athletic program, specifically the baseball team, the football team. We can have an entire chat group dedicated to you. But, what do you remember, Danny? Because, as somebody that went on the road with this team and traveled and so forth, how exciting this run was from your perspective, from your lens.
It was special. I just remember because every year that the team won the Ivy League championship, I was never on the field. I just had a superstition that I was bad luck and I just couldn't watch the game. So, people always tell me, hey, we won. So then in my head, I'm like, all right, so now I have to order stuff for the team, and then I have to get ready for the regional. So in 2015, when I found out that we were going back to Miami, I was like, all right, this is cool. You know, we were just here the year before, and, you know, our team was just special. I mean, the lineup was probably, I honestly believe that was the best team we ever had. So in my head, I was like, you know, let's just go get it. So then the night of the shutout, you know, I'm watching the game from like the dugout with the guys, and the stadium was just completely silent. People were like, who is this team? Like, is this really happening? And then again, like we played in the afternoon. So we had a game at like 12, and then we had to play again that night. So in my head, I was like, all right, so we might be done today. We might be playing tomorrow night. You know, what's going on here? So, I mean, for me, this was just, you know, a special group of guys that I miss every day.
We miss you too, big guy. We miss you too.
So, just, you know, the lineup was stacked. We had the pitching. We could play with anybody, I thought. And in my head, you know, I was thinking about, you know, what if we do host Super Regional? You know, like, you know, what's going to happen? You know, so the kids are going to stay like an extra week. You know, how are we going to get back? You know, just trying to think of like 18 different things, you know, in terms of coordinating, you know, watching the uniforms, getting the stuff ready for the guys. If I have to order extra stuff for the team, you know. So at this point, my mind was like spinning. I was like, is this really gonna happen? And again, I was like, you know, why not? Why not us? You know, similar to like the 04 Red Sox. Why not us? So
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, Danny, great seeing the both of you. Great hearing you. Thanks so much for weighing in, and we'll certainly hear from you both a little bit later on as we move forward. But now we're going to turn our attention to the guy who's taking over on the mound as we see this game, and that is Zach Bain. So part one of the story of this contest is freshman Bryce Barr. Part two is another young arm by the name of Zach Bain. Zach, thanks so much for joining us. How's everything on your end?
Things are going well. How about you?
We're doing very well. And we're that much more intrigued to hear from you because we were talking to Bryce. He had not made an appearance since April, and you were pretty much in the same boat where, you know, this was your first appearance since April. So what was your mindset once you went out there knowing that Bryce took care of business? Hey, as long as they need me, I need to match what Bryce has put out there so far.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was pretty inspiring to see Bryce do what he had done for the first 5 innings or so, just because, you know, if you haven't pitched in a live game in 2 months or whatever it was, it can be a bit intimidating, but it almost was to the point where it's such an unreal moment and such a unlikely moment that you can't really be worrying about the fact that you haven't pitched in 2 months. But yeah, I think just following in Bryce's footsteps and seeing what he had done. And I think it also helped that at that point, Bryce and I were super similar pitchers in terms of, you know, not exactly, you know, blowing up hitters with 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. I think that inspired confidence in terms of our style of pitching was going to be effective.
No, it's Zach. It's great to see you, man.
Great to see you and half of your son's face in the background.
watching the game. I'm laughing because it's almost comical that, you know, in our league we finish early and we were waiting around that you haven't pitched in 2 months. You know, it's unbelievable.
I know it's hard. And I think that, you know, at any stage in life, it's kind of hard to see how down moments can end up being positive. But I remember a lot of times freshman year, you and Coach Mackey would kind of reiterate, especially the freshman pitchers, how, you know, it isn't all going to be the best moments. And I remember throughout the year, a couple of the midweeks where I may have struggled, or a couple of the inter-squad games I may have struggled. It was hard to see at the time, but I think it definitely paid off in terms of learning from mistakes, and obviously ended up being positive in this situation. So it certainly is unlikely, though.
It's awesome. It's awesome. You know, but what's going through your mind, you know, as you know, as you're warming up in the bullpen and we got a 2-0 lead. I mean, what are some of the things that you're thinking about?
Well, I remember when I was warming up in the bullpen. I honestly don't remember like too much in terms of specific details, but I do remember in the bullpen there are a couple of rowdy Miami fans who had looked up my either my Facebook account or my bio because they were making fun of me for being I forget what it was. There's something with like being from Pittsburgh, or it was some like little detail that I definitely shouldn't have been privy to right before going into a game. But that's actually what I remember the most, and just like kind of the shock of, again, going into going into a live game for the first time in 6 weeks or 8 weeks was definitely a bit shocking. But yeah, I remember those rowdy Miami fans, and I think even going out to the mound for the first inning when I was in was definitely shocking, because the stadium is that pretty intimidating back stands behind home plate,
Right.
where it goes up pretty steep, and it almost looks like a big wall of Miami
Right.
fans, and they were getting antsy, and it was a long day at the field, a long hot day in the field, and I don't know, I think in some sense it was a little motivating just to shut them down and shut them up. But
Did you and Bryce have words at all before you went out?
what was that?
Do you remember any words from Bryce before you went out?
I don't think we ever would have like crossed
Okay.
paths. I think
You came from down the bullpen.
Yeah, I don't know what he would have said to me that would have been would have helped or hurt the situation. I feel like it was all fairly unspoken. He had just shut them down for 5 innings, and yeah, I think it was pretty obvious what I was supposed to do when I was out there. Throw strikes, throw changeups, keep them off balance, don't throw balls down the middle. It's all the things that you preach throughout the year. I'm not sure what he would have he would have said to me, or would have been PG rated for this call.
I swear. I mean, everybody that's in this game, particularly you and Bryce, you guys look like you're very comfortable and have been in these situations before. And
yeah, it is interesting. What was the coach's sentiment at this point? Like, what was the discussion going on in terms of, like, they're 2 freshmen now throwing 8 innings or whatever it was at this point?
I don't really think we thought about, hey, we got 2 freshmen, throwing until after the fact, when, it was like, oh, we just had two guys throw that just shut up Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that I don't think we weren't really looking at you guys as, 2 freshmen. It was,
yeah,
you guys are, hey, you're the next guys up, the next 2 guys up, and let's see what we got.
Yeah, definitely. And
So,
especially at that point, there weren't exactly a ton of arms left, left in the pen. It was more of a,
yeah, you guys are the next 2. To give us the innings, and we'll see where it goes. When you go out, you get the 1, 2, 3 inning. Now we're into the 7th. It's 2-zip.
And I think one thing, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this from a Miami hitter's perspective. I feel like they were probably frustrated seeing, Bryce and I flash 85-mile-an-hour fastballs up and them not scoring a run and having 2 or 3 hits or whatever. I feel like at some point they had to almost tense up and get frustrated themselves and almost overcompensate.
Yeah, they're trying to do a whole lot more than what they need to be doing. I mean,
yeah,
the rollover ground ball to second base. There's a the rollover to Nick to start the inning off. The ground ball to second base was a ball out of the zone. They're trying to force the issue.
Yeah.
And that's a normal thing, from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah.
You're trying to do more than you need to do.
Well, Zach, before we turn back to the heavy hitters, as Nick, Jordan, and John pop back up, just curious your thoughts, because as impressive as Bryce was, I don't want it to be lost in the conversation. You retired all 9 batters that you faced in this game. It was 9 up, 9 down. You had 1 strikeout. I mean, that is pretty impressive. When you think back, hey, going in there, if I would have told you you're going to face 9 batters in that Miami lineup, you're not going to give them anything, and you're going to be able to control all of them, what would your response would have been?
I definitely would have been surprised, but I think in that kind of situation, you have to have the confidence that you're going to do exactly that. I think if I went into that outing saying, this is the number 3 offense or whatever, and they have this hitter and that hitter, you're already setting yourself up for failure. So I'd like to think I was pretty confident in myself, but I guess from an objective standpoint, the odds weren't in my favor at that moment.
Well, Zach, hell of a performance by you and Bryce. Fun to look back on it. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll certainly hear from you later on as we move forward here on our watch party, Columbia and Miami. You got it. As we now bring in Jordan, John, and Nick again. So last time we spoke, you guys did the heavy lifting in terms of helping plate the 2 runs. Now we're in the 7th, and you guys pretty much picked up where you left off. As Nick is now up at bat. And Nick, we were talking about that this was your big game. 2 singles, looking to add a 3rd now here. And something tells me that you're going to have success in this spot once again.
Yeah, I was feeling confident coming into this at bat. Partly because I had a lot of luck going my way there with the first one, the infield single, and then Jacob Hayward just losing one in the lights up there. But I also remember, I don't know if Coach Walsh is on here, but somehow, I don't know if they were doing like touch signs, but he knew what they were throwing. And I knew they were just feeding me fastballs. So I think this goes to a 3-2 count. And I didn't see anything but fastballs here. So I was just hacking away, as you could see there from the last 2 swings that I just took.
Oh, man.
See, I think it goes to 3-2. Oh, no, it was a 2-2 count. There it is. Maybe if it was Jordo there, I'd be on second, but I'm going to go back to first.
As you guys are watching this game, how much is coming back? How much are you recalling, what that 2015 experience was all like? Or are you picking up on things that maybe you would have forgotten over these years? You guys are zoned in on the game. I don't want to.
Yeah, I was zoned in too.
No, I don't know. I remember that at bat. A lot of these memories are hard to come by. I definitely remember the final double play. I know we'll get there in a couple innings, but it's hard. I don't want to. This was like obviously one of our final games in the season for Jordo, his senior year, my junior year, Johnny's junior year. So it all kind of blends together. But this night in particular, there's a lot of things that stand out, and this is where it kind of starts to piece together. And like you were talking to Zach Bain last inning, when he came in and started, shutting these guys down, it was like, this is kind of where, again, we started to feel very confident. I remember feeling confident standing on first base here, especially with, Willie coming up and Jordo and Johnny also coming up this inning.
Yeah, this day is pretty seared in my memory. I especially remember the game before blowing through Coach's stop sign to score a big run late in the game. Third base. So
that was a deke, Johnny. It worked.
Did it on purpose. Like I said earlier, I don't remember much about this game or the game before. I remember the game before being mentally exhausting. So going into this one, we definitely needed a recharge. The AC weight room helped. But other than that, it was pitch to pitch for me, and it kind of it's one of those games we just went out and kind of went through it like we normally do. I don't think that's why it's kind of lost to me what happened that night. It was just a crazy night.
Yeah. I don't remember you going through a stop sign, Kenny.
I remember that.
That. Coach, I'll never forget you walking towards the dugout afterwards.
Were you safe?
Yeah.
Well, you were right.
It was the right. You made the wrong decision. Correct.
Johnny saved you.
Nick, you were hard on your average earlier in the broadcast. You'll be happy to know you went from 231 to 244, according to the last graphic. So it's increasing as this game is progressing.
That's good. That's a good thing about the Ivy League schedule. You play a lot less games. Your average is a little bit more likely to fluctuate. So you get a couple hits this game, and you bump it up about 0.1%.
So Will tried to sacrifice there and was thrown out at first as we move along here.
Do you remember what you do here?
No. Don't remember this one either.
I don't either, Jordo. I'm with you. I have no idea what happens here. So I'm just like,
Yeah,
this for the first
I was
time.
so excited to come watch. I'm like, this game.
I know.
It's a good game. I don't remember what happened. It's like brand new for me. It's like it's live.
Yeah.
Lance, are they going to keep this game somewhere online where you can access it at any time, like the full length of the game, or is this something the NCAA's got kind of close to the chest?
Well, I believe we're going to put together a post-production where we'll insert the game within our chat. So
Okay.
that should provide archival footage for you guys to look back with respect to this broadcast. Hopefully
Nick
that
needs to
answers.
post some Instas.
Yeah.
No, I'm off Instagram. I'm off. Off
No
social media.
chance.
It's over.
Super Hammond.
So
I had
we're
to go
seeing
back through and look at all the box scores of this whole weekend.
Yeah, right.
Try to fire up a little bit of memory wise.
Yeah.
So
I
here's a
sort of
pitching
remember him-
change from Miami.
Yeah, I sort of remember this guy coming in, side armor. I think he was throwing like 80 something. Jordo, I feel like you get a hit here. Someone gets a big hit
Yeah,
off this guy.
I think I do get a hit because I remember seeing sub guys pretty well. And the next night I'm pretty sure they threw this guy again, and I got like 2 or 3 hits off of them again. So
This guy was Willis
catch a
Light.
barrel here.
Is that Eric Williams in the background right there? I think it might have been.
No, that's Brett Ganaway and Matt the Bat Ratner.
behind.
Up top.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
I missed
Oh,
it.
okay.
Oh yeah, right there in the shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is him.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
ahead of you guys a little bit.
slightly.
Yeah, 78 miles an hour on the outside corner.
That thing moves weird, man.
Yeah.
Frisbee. There it is. Here comes the Frisbee, Jordan. Watch this.
You got a
Getting
mean
a
beard
nice
going there,
lead off a
Jordo.
second here.
That's about as long as it's ever been right there. It's pretty thick.
Yeah.
I mentioned it
That's
earlier.
a
I remember it
thick
being
beard.
pretty hot. Yeah. I had for graduation too. So
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of meetings on the Hill throughout the course of this game from Miami, in addition to pitching changes. So, I mean, that just goes to show what you guys were talking about earlier in terms of really putting them in a precarious spot throughout this game and making them think probably more than they've thought in previous games in this tournament.
Yeah, there it is, Jordan. Yep. I knew it.
I'm not there
Oh, send me. Oh, that would have been out.
Kenny, you see
yet.
that?
Oh, he should have caught that.
I knew right away. Nobody's catching
you got
that.
a good jump.
Taking
too,
off.
then.
Yeah, I knew it.
I know.
I wasn't blessed with too much speed there. Too much quickness.
He's got a lot of confidence in John Kinney coming up here and doing the job.
Oh yeah. He had an RBI earlier in the game. I knew he was going to bat me in here. Oh, yeah, and then Rob on deck. Oh yeah. Stop sign makes sense.
Are we stealing, Jordan?
I feel like maybe. Usually trying to, yeah.
With the sub guy, we usually get a pretty good jump off of that guy.
Yeah.
That was the Frisbee right there. That thing coming in 65 miles an hour.
Ugh.
They're playing wiffle ball all back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's coming again. I'll tell you what, I'll tune into another Zoom call next Tuesday to watch Dordo tag up from second against Dartmouth.
Anus in left field, whatever his name was.
That was a heck of a
Enos
play.
Gobble.
Enos Gobble.
Oh, that's a great highlight to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I just remember
Johnny,
jogging into third when that was going on, and looking up, and Bebo's willing some energy into my run. I'm like, oh crap, gotta go. He's waving me. Can't believe it.
You look behind you too at one point.
Yeah, I did look back.
Running
Yeah,
home.
terrible. Like, what the hell is going on?
Johnny, you remember what you do this at bat? I have no idea.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh. All right, we'll leave it a surprise for everybody else. Me and Jordo will be the only ones in the dark here.
Breaking ball, seeing the fastball. Yeah, good one. Little 2-strike action right there, Johnny.
Yeah, I think this next pitch was a close take.
Yep. That a baby.
Ooh, definitely.
Yeah, that's outside.
In the Ivy League, I'm sitting on
Yeah,
the
you're
dugout.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Oh,
There you go.
Yes. That a baby.
There it is. Johnny, you had 2 RBIs this game, huh?
I don't think they give you the RBI for the double play, but
Really? I forget how rules work in the league.
this is the only one I remember.
That was a good 2-strike swing right there.
That was, man.
All my swings were 2-strike swings.
And John is correct from a statistical standpoint. They did not give him the RBI on the previous at bat. So see, his memory is on point. Do not doubt John Kinney.
That's a bunch
No
of
one
BS,
knows this,
John.
but I kissed Coach Tisch after that play.
Good thing they didn't get that on camera, huh? Everybody would know it.
Knocking another guy out.
Jeez. I didn't realize
It was
we
a
went through
theme
so
in this
many
game.
guys.
No, I didn't either.
This is like a typical Ivy League game where they
Panic
start
button.
they start breaking everybody out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Daniel Briggy, this guy probably hadn't had how many innings he's got on here? 29 innings?
The New York kid.
60-something games. Oh, okay.
Broughton on the Hudson.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't either.
Hi, John.
Wait, so
Tisch.
we need to hear your perspective of the kiss at first base, Dan. Because John said he tried to kiss you after he got the base hit.
Lance, this is genuinely news to me. Hey, provide some context because my wife is sitting on the couch and now she has questions. A lot of moving parts here, man.
It was a full 3 seconds long, Coach. I don't know how you forgot.
Came up
We
with
can
a big
edit this out if you want.
I'll leave it in. Who cares?
No, this is the juicy stuff. We got to leave it in.
There's a big time wild pitch coming up here, Jordan, that he picks.
Oh, man.
Not supposed to be able to make that play.
No.
Yeah, that was wild.
Oh, nice play.
Yeah, that's an LB or Mike Fisher play.
Yeah.
Out of him.
It's nice hearing from you guys that you guys genuinely don't remember this game either, because people don't believe me when I say that, but no recollection of any of these events until a double play.
Until the double play.
Yeah.
I don't I don't remember any of this, but I remember you getting tossed versus either Dartmouth or Penn. That
was against Penn. That was against Penn your senior year, Nick. And you gotta when a ball hits off the scoreboard, it's usually a home run on our field.
One of my fondest memories of college baseball, and I don't remember much, but a classic.
Oh man.
I think we still got did what Zach Boehm go 2 more innings? I think Klein only pitched the 9th, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
9 up, 9 down for the Bamer.
That's crazy.
Thanks for coming. 3-2. 1 out. Bobby Barrels. Locked in. I told Vandercook earlier, we left 10 guys on base in this game. We should have blown them out.
Not a lot of 2-out ribeyes. Oh, that's a tough call.
It is.
Hey Rob, if you're listening, that's a bunch of bullshit right there, Rob. I think that's inside.
Ooh.
Yeah. Tough call.
2 down. I think it's at this point in the game, not that you're not doing it, but I think even before this, when Bryce gets out of that inning, first and second, 1 out or whatnot, and we get out, I think everybody's on every pitch from thereafter. It's a nothing game, just every pitch locked in. Guys, and when you guys are in the field on defense, all the pitchers, just every pitch, everybody in the dugout. What? Kyle Bartleman got a flash. You see that? AB, did you see that?
KB in here? We gotta look out. Hold on.
He's here somewhere.
He's in the mix.
Well, Rob actually just popped back up, and Rob, they were reacting to your at bat. Did you have any reaction watching back the strikeout looking?
Yeah, I should have hit a double.
Well
You
said.
should have had some words with the home plate umpire there, Rob. That was a brutal call, in my opinion.
I don't think Coach Walsh has left his perch on the dugout there. In the corner of the dugout screaming.
Coach Walsh knew what pitches were coming before they were coming this inning.
I wonder how. I wish he had his son had a game tonight. I wonder because he would remember definitely.
Yeah. Oh man. Look at foul code.
Coach, how you enjoying coaching the little guys?
Good.
What's up?
I didn't make it to the game tonight. I think he's glad I didn't.
There they are.
Oh, I'm falling over. Oh, watch your toe.
So Falcone now up here with 2
That's
on.
what happens. Working the way through the ball. We go. Oh.
It's like 3 good hacks from Joey there.
Yeah.
That
Getting his
bat
money's worth.
looks like a toothpick in his hands.
Yeah. I think that Easton Stealth was like a 32-29. I'm pretty sure he like found that. Hey, Joe, what are you doing swinging this bat?
This is where Joe Falcone made his debut, sophomore year. Spring trip.
Really?
Miami midweek.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
I remember what I did this at bat.
There he is.
Oh,
any
Fred.
one of those.
What's up, Joe?
Could have.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Joe.
Good pass. Good pass at it.
Yeah.
Joe, I thought you were going parking garage over right field there with any one of those.
I wish that thing wasn't there because I kept swinging for it the entire tournament.
Remember, Joe, you saw sophomore year. We were at UCF, I think.
Yeah, and I think that hit was off of the first start of the little.
Oh, was it?
Stocky kid.
No
Sosa
way.
was his name, right?
No way. It was a laser to center, right?
Right center, something like that. Yeah, remember that one?
Ty Weist, are you on here?
Yep. Ty Weist is
you
joining us
driving?
now.
Ty Weist.
No hands?
Absolutely.
What is he doing?
Ty's on mute right now. Now he's off mute. There we go, Ty.
There we go. What's up, guys?
What's up, dude?
What's up, Ty?
Doing a long time no see.
What's up, man? So I just a couple days ago.
You pulled over?
Yeah, I'm sitting here in Dillon, Colorado.
All right. All right.
What are you doing up there?
Going to the mountains.
Oh, sweet.
So we're bringing in Ty Weist and athletic trainer Pete Cruz. And Jordan, we will speak to you a little bit later on as we heard from the key batters who took care of business in the top of the 7th as we move to the bottom of the 7th. So, Ty, you pitched actually against Florida International, the first game of this doubleheader day. So what was it like taking care of business in that earlier game and then sort of being a spectator here watching this big victory and great performances by Barr and Boehm?
Well, I remember, I think I was more nervous than the guys out there. I was just like, I can't believe this right now. It was a lot of fun. But I do remember one thing about Bryce during his outing. He kept, between innings, he kept just talking and speaking gibberish to me. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to be talking to you. Just keep doing. But he just kept talking and talking. And so I just was like, yeah, right on, man. Like, don't know what you're saying, but whatever it is, it was working. And so it was a lot of fun.
And Pete, what do you remember from being a part of this very notable run in 2015?
I mean, I remember how hot it was down there. This was like my first regional with the team, my first year with the team. And I was filling big shoes for Craig LaBianco, who was there before me. And the first thing Coach Brady told when I showed up, he goes, "You can't beat Craig." I was like, but a lot of these guys, they bring up the time in the strength room when, you know, the AC was kicking. I remember myself and Kurt Horhol are running around trying to get these guys electrolytes and Gatorade. We're like, all right, guys, nobody's allowed to pass out because it's really hot. We're trying to get their arms ready before the game. And I remember the whole experience was just incredible.
Well, it was a very unique night because of the two big victories that took place on Sunday. So we're now in the bottom of the 7th. And Zach Boehm is basically still in cruise control with 2 outs as Ty Weist popping back in and out of the lineup here. And Ty, you mentioned that, they were trying to talk to you throughout the game, essentially, and you were telling them, hey, take care of business. What is it about pitchers? And, everybody sort of has a different style and approach in terms of a big game like this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't want you talking to me unless it had to do with the game. But so I just didn't want to, whenever guy was pitching, I just wanted to stay away from him unless I had something for him or if I knew it didn't bother him. But Bryce was very vocal in the dugout that night. And then I remember Boehm, he was quiet. And I remember after this inning was over, I was feeling good. I was like, I think we got this.
Well, there was no question.
Yeah,
that
I would walk away from pitchers pretty consistently. Like, don't talk to me, man. Worry about the game, and he'd just beeline away from them every time.
Well, it just goes to show you everybody's got their own unique style. Some guys are talkative, some guys are quiet and in the zone and so forth. So, Ty, Pete, it was great seeing you. Great talking with you. And we'll check back in with you a little bit later on as we move forward here to the 8th inning. And Randall Kanemaru back with us as we now turn our focus back to the offensive side of the ball. So I know you and Brett were exchanging some pleasantries earlier on in terms of the approach to this game. I don't know where you want to take the conversation now, Randall, because you've provided us with such great content. I don't want to take away from your mojo this evening.
Oh, no, you can do whatever you like. But yeah, I know me and Coach, I mean, everyone knows me and Coach definitely butt heads about hitting quite a few times. Just right when I came, actually freshman year, fall, he actually like didn't say anything to me, and that was like my best fall ever. After that, it was all downhill. The coach was great. I just like to talk crap to him all the time because his BP curveballs are just awful, and he thinks they're the best thing out there. So, just gotta put him in his place every once in a while.
Well, it looks like you're trying to lay down a bunt here as we're watching your at bat.
Yeah, it's a mistake. I don't know why Coach called it bunt.
I don't either.
That is just gross.
Oh my! This might be the only bunt. No, foul ball.
That format's gross.
Rick, you look like a in shape, athletic. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same about you.
Boy, the zingers are coming in strong tonight. Randall brought his A game, man. He's not holding back tonight.
Oh, you should see him somewhere at practices. Got really intense. Started sweating everywhere. The best one was my sophomore year when we're in the blue cages or the blue gym, which was already an awful start to practice. You're already on edge when we're in there. And then we started talking about hitting. I don't know if this is the same practice, but remember that one time where you asked me where's your hot zone? And I said my height. Like, our communication was just never on. But then there's one time in the fall when we had individuals, and I was the first one. And then we started butting heads on hitting. And all the balls were all over the cage, and then you and I were just talking about hitting through 2 other indies, and Coach Tish is just pitching like twice as fast in the cage next to us since you weren't pitching. And we're just arguing about hitting the whole time.
That was a blue gym. That was a blue gym day, Randall. I distinctly remember that.
Yeah.
About communicating, Randall. We like to over communicate.
or just argue, or just on each other's nerves.
You also sent us, I think, a 6-page email the next day with links included about
and pictures and diagrams. I spent like the whole day writing that up, and actually, I talked to Will about it. Like, me and Will talked about hitting, about everything, and then I also talked to Jordo about it because that was my sophomore year, and you know how Jordo like is all about like technique and stuff with hitting. And I sent him like that whole thing, and he's like, "Wow, I wish I could send something like this to Coach." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll send it."
It was a good email. It was a really good email.
I was super nervous too because I'm like, yeah, this kind of goes against what Coach is saying about hitting. But,
it was a good email.
It worked.
I mean, your hitting philosophy changed over my years there.
It worked out for you, man.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, your hitting philosophy changed. Oh, I got to hit this game.
Damn job.
I only remember the strikeouts.
Oh. First and second, no outs. Up 3. Nice. It's good 2-strike hitting, Randall.
Fought through that at bat after attempting the bunt earlier on.
Yeah, Coach really put me in the hole there. It's like automatic 0-2. I can't lay down a bunt.
Just having to overcome, Randall. Just having to overcome.
So much adversity.
The only time in your career we ever asked you to bunt, honest to God.
Honestly, that's probably true.
You know,
I mean, I'm in the 7 hole. That's what I'm supposed to
you're
do.
the last guy picked all the time.
No, that's fair. I'm just like a wasted out. It's like if you're going to get out, you might as well move the guys over. You know. I don't blame you.
And here comes another pitching change for the Hurricanes, which certainly happened multiple times throughout the course of this contest. When you look at how many guys they utilized, they wound up utilizing 5 pitchers. So here's the last one, Sam Abrams, who they actually brought into this game. He wound up pitching the final 2 innings. And, you know, that was the thing that I think was a common theme as you look at the statistics from this game. You know, Sosa started off strong, but then you wore him down. He threw 79 pitches and then even got the other relievers up there for limited opportunities in which they were in this game. I mean, the last pitcher, Briggy, was in for 2/3 of an inning. He threw 23 pitches, and Cooper Hammond, who failed to get an out, wound up throwing 9 pitches. So, you know, you guys just from top to bottom really did a good job just wearing down this Miami pitching staff that they were throwing at you.
Great bunt right there.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's how it's done right there, Randall. That's textbook.
Hey, in my defense, okay, Will also struggled earlier in the game, and he's like our best bunter. So there's no way your expectations of me should be higher than Will's.
What's your definition of struggle? Because he got the bunt down. He did his job.
Yeah, well, I got a base hit. That's like almost better, right? I wasn't out, and we got another guy on base.
I think that getting back to your point, Lance, is I think these guys were so locked in pitch to pitch. You know, there was nothing. There weren't many, if any, at bats given away. You know, in this game, there really weren't. I mean, you talk about the number of balls Randall just fouled off. You talk about the 2-strike approaches that the guys are having, putting the ball in play. You know, I don't remember too many strikeouts. You know, and I'm being honest. I know Randall struck out twice earlier, but I don't remember too many strikeouts. You know, during this game. You know, as far as guys, you know, having 3 or 4 pitch at bats and making it an easy out.
Yeah. But it is important that we highlighted Randall's 2 strikeouts, regardless of how many pitches it took him.
Actually, I guess maybe I did. I don't know.
Sitting right here.
But she's just jealous. He never got to do that to me. That's so many attempts.
We're gonna have to. We need a watch party of Brett throwing batting practice to Randall. That's the next watch party. Okay, we'll have to dig up that archival footage.
I don't think we can do that to Coach. That just might be too embarrassing.
No, another Frisbee guy. Will Savage, bases loaded, 1 out. Will, what happens here?
Give us good news, Will.
Well, didn't the game end 3-0? So I don't know how much good could come out of this at bat. I don't remember, but there's not many options. Oh, it's actually a nice piece.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was Cook's fault.
Oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Will.
That was like Ivy League championship all over again.
Will, you had to have remembered that Dave Vandercook just stole an RBI from you. We should have won 4-0.
Yeah.
Oh, what a baby, Will.
Stayed on that slider.
I don't think you go there. He's playing left field for a reason. What's he gonna do? Throw you out?
Oh, Cook.
Dave.
Oh.
Wait, I'm a little behind here.
Oh no.
I'm a little behind here, but I do remember that. I definitely remember that. Dave, what happened?
A little slip. Lost his footing there.
Oh, there he is. What do you have to say for yourself?
You know, somebody brought it up. I had tape on my cleats because the Velcro was bad. I think it got stuck in my cleat. They watered the field. I don't know. I have no excuse. I should have scored. I don't know what I'm thinking.
That would have been a close play.
Coach runs like a 6'7", 6'8". Easy.
Yeah, I'm the guy Coach holds up every first and third drill at second base. So.
Oh, I would pray Coach would do that.
Nobody was paying you to run the bases, Dave. Hit hanging changeups and play good defense.
I could have stole some bags. Didn't never give me the steal sign. Never green light,
I could say the same. How rude.
Yo, Randall, you're freaking killing it. This is amazing.
Oh, thank you. I feel bad for Coach. I feel like he's still going to kill me when I come over to my apartment and kill me.
Never, Randall. Come on, I can take it from you. Oh,
you have to say that right now, but you're going to text me later tonight. Some mean things, and I won't be able to sleep.
all right. Bottom of the eighth we go.
Keep clapping, fellas.
Okay, here's Jordan Serena. Top of the order.
My bad, guys. Shit.
You're fired. It all worked itself out.
So somewhere in another reality, it's 4-0 Columbia. In David Vandercook's world, unfortunately, it's 3-0. As we appreciate Dave for chiming in, as well as Randall. So we are now heading to the bottom of the eighth of this ball game as we come down the stretch with Columbia still up 3-0. And Zach Boehm, once again, 6 up, 6 down. Just a tremendous performance from him, as well as Bryce Barr. And, this is going to be a segment where we'll be focusing on the two coaches here with Brett and Dan. And I'm curious from your perspective, Brett, when Bryce finishes those 5 innings, how difficult was it to determine, do we take him out? Does he got enough gas in the tank? Do I leave him in? Do I want to disrupt the momentum as opposed to actually handing it over to Zach?
I think he gave us the 5. He did an unbelievable job. The plan, prior to the game was, let's see how much we can get out of him, and then Boehm's the next guy in line. I think he gets out of that 5th inning because there was a long at bat, I think, previous to that 3rd out, if I remember right. Abreu wasn't that the inning Abreu had a 12 or 13 pitch at bat. Yeah. So his pitch count was in the 80s. He giving us the 5. We know we got Klein, available. So let's hand it over to Zach, and we got a 2-run lead, and let's see where it goes from here. If he can continue to keep the ball down in the zone, which he is doing, and mixing the speed. Getting these guys, there's a couple balls they're hitting well, no question. Nice play by Paler coming up, but talked about earlier, these guys got outside themselves as far as trying to do more than they're trying to do more than they're capable of doing, swinging at some pitches and stuff. So they helped us out a little bit, but our guys continue to pound the zone. We weren't giving anything free up, no free bases. You got to hit your way on, and hey, things played out very well for us.
And as you just noted, great defense again. Paler charging for that ball to back up Boehm. Just another example of not just the infielders doing some of the heavy lifting with the double plays, but the outfielders too. And, for those of us who may be just joining us, we talked about Gus Craig not available in this game because of injury. So, you play a game of musical chairs in the outfield with Paler and Falcone, and, nothing came back to bite you, fortunately. Guys just, hung in there. They took on their roles, their responsibilities, and they came through with flying colors, whether it was on the mound, whether it was in the infield, whether it was the outfield, you name it.
No, I agree. And it was just the type of team that we had, Rob's comfortable going right over, no questions asked. Joey's going to go out, like we talked earlier, as far as the preparation side of it for Joe, I think Joe, I'm sure was looking forward to that opportunity to go out and play in the field, and not just being the dugout DH and on the day, but it's interesting. These guys look like they're taking a strike, early in the count. And I don't know if they're trying to sit soft because they're seem to be getting beat by some fastballs. And I don't know how much Zach, I think Bryce had his changeup going a little bit better than Zach as far as location wise. I think Zach is relying more on his fastball location than anything else, which is that was
a really
good pitch right here that doesn't get called.
That's a really good pitch.
One thing I noticed with Logan Boyer is ahead of his time here. I mean, you talk about manipulating the baseball like they talk about doing today. I mean, he has done an unbelievable job this evening on the low strike, and that's something that in today's baseball 2 years ago, it started big time with everybody really working under the ball, and Logan's done an awesome job this evening. Here you go. Backdoor little cutter, slider coming up.
Dump that right in there.
And a baby.
And Logan was such a clutch player for you guys in 2015, right? I mean, some of the hits that he got down the stretch
big time
en route to the regional, and then, of course, what he did in the backstop.
Big time. No question about it. Competitive kid, football mentality, living in the moment. I mean, he's running the show back there too. These leadership qualities are outstanding. And he got the leadoff hit in the inning. We scored 2 runs. Gets up there after we get that big out of that out, and he comes up and smacks the hit, gets things going.
It's big, having a group of seniors like we did on this team. Guys that obviously great players for us, but really great leaders. But then also to have the juniors that we had. You think about this year's junior class, and you got guys like Logan and Nick that played every day, basically from the time that they were sophomores, even starting a little bit when they were freshmen. John Kinney was a huge contributor in 2014 and 2015 on the mound. You got Adam Klein, Kevin Roy, and a good number of other guys. Matty Robinson, pitched in a good bit. And to have that kind of veteran leadership was really significant for us. I don't know if you guys noticed, but earlier in the game, Bryce walked a guy on 4 pitches, and the first thing the camera cuts to is Nick McGuire coming in and taking a visit with him, just to slow things down and, get him to where he wants to be, where he needs to be. And as a coaching staff, that just makes our job so much easier when you got guys that are doing the heavy lifting on leadership for you. It just makes it so much fun to come out to work every single day.
Yeah, basically the extension of the two of you, as well as the rest of the coaching staff on the field. And also the experience factor, Dan, in terms of the leadership too, but the experience, to your point, having been in regionals previously, understanding what it's like to perform on the big stage. I mean, that's invaluable when it's all said and done.
For sure. And, I think it goes back to something that Kevin talked about earlier tonight. K-Wah was talking about that first outing against Arizona and being able to spin it forward to, being able to go punch out, pop up, punch out with the bases loaded, nobody out against Dartmouth in 2013. And I think that, a lot of guys in that group, in the 2015 class and 2016 class, have those types of experiences, and we're able to be such tremendous contributors because of that.
Well, speaking of contributors, we bring in Joe and Rob once again as we now move to the top of the 9th. John Kinney leading off with Columbia in front 3-0. So as we come down to the wire and we inch closer to the finished product, Kinney flies out here. But Joe, as you continue to take in this game, what memories do you have of this 9th inning, and how, maybe the realization for this team is starting to set in that you're going to be able to knock off Miami and live to see a Monday night game, which is the 7th and final game of this regional, which most people, at least from a national standpoint, would have given you no chance to even get there?
Yeah, I remember for me, the mindset to well, actually, I did always press, but to never really have that baseline pressing that year was because he would always. I remember Coach Beretti would always say this thing I had never heard of before, and he said, "Hey, let's just go win the inning." He would always say that, and he would just say, "When we're on defense, just put up a 0, and then whenever we're at bat, we'll just throw a number up there on the board. We'll just try to win the inning and have fun along the way." And that was kind of like a macro perspective for me to really just kind of set in and allowed myself to have fun that year. I remember this. We played 2 baseball games that day, right?
Yeah. Played
Okay.
Florida International earlier.
Right, and I got the platinum sombrero that game against Florida International. That was the gold team, right? They were gold.
Yellow.
Yeah. And then this game, I was rattled by that. So I don't recall hitting the ball out of the infield this game. I guess I flew out a couple of times, but even still, though, it was just that picture of trying to keep it into the perspective of, hey, let's just win the inning. Let's not go try to win the game or win the World Series or any of that nonsense, because it doesn't exist. It's not relevant. What's relevant was just having fun that inning, which that eliminated a lot of the pressing for me. Even though I'm K-ing, right in here, like.
Yeah, but you're taking a great hack, Joe. Who cares? Look at that swing. Oh man.
I think awesome. I broke every bone in my back on that one. God.
That's a great, Joe. What you just said that's money, man. As far as enjoying every inning and not worrying about the big picture, and I think you guys all did a great job doing that.
I think that really helped with in the championship against Dartmouth, right? Because we lost that first game, and I probably, I can say this now, but back then I probably shouldn't say this, but I really didn't care because it was a good game and it was fun. I didn't like losing it, and of course you wanted to win baseball games, but I had a blast that game.
Right.
It was close. It's what you play baseball for.
Right.
You're not going to win all of them.
Yeah.
Well, we bring in Adam Klein.
How's it going?
Adam, how we doing?
Good. This has been awesome. It's been a lot of fun watching this again, seeing all the guys.
What's up, Klein?
How's it going, Joe? Rob?
Man.
Good to see you guys.
Well, Adam, you closed out all 3 victories in this regional for Columbia. So this was not uncharted territory for you in this spot here as we move to the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, it was it was quite the game. I mean, I honestly was pretty tired for most of the game, so I was just trying to stay focused, get ready for the end, and is just at the end of it watching Bame and Barr go out there and stuff and just really throw it. It was great to be able to wrap that up and put a bow on it.
How impressed were you, Adam, in terms of what Barr and Bame were able to do and the opportunity that you had with a 3-run cushion here in the ninth to be able to close things out?
I mean, it was great being able to have that with how tired I was going into that ninth. So it was nice being able to have that cushion. I mean, they really just went out and, as we've been saying, competed. It was just really a game by game, batter by batter, pitch by pitch mentality. And I mean, Coach Mack did an unreal job calling the game. And we were able to just kind of go out there and focus on hitting the spot with the pitch that was called. And between Logs and him, it was a lot of fun being able to throw with them.
Klein, I remember it looked like you were throwing 100 after Bryce.
Yeah, that did help out. I think that was probably the hardest of our throw. I mean, that was the most adrenaline I've had it pumping through my body ever. That was a pretty great night.
I think the
what are your thoughts coming into the game?
31st, right?
For me, I mean, it was funny hearing Cruz talking about giving us electrolytes in between games because, I mean, I think I threw 3 innings or so in that first one. That was pretty hot, and I remember him rolling out my legs and Coach Matt coming over to me because I was, like, cramping up a little bit. He's just like, all right, like, you're ready for the next one, right? Like, don't ice or anything. I was like, okay, here we go. So I just was trying to like not get too excited or anything. Just stay even keeled the same way all the guys were doing, and then just be able to let it all out at the end. It was a lot of fun.
It was a good slider right there. Strike three.
Yeah.
We got one. Is that the top of the order too? Is Eusebio the top of the order, or was he?
Yeah,
down?
it was top of the order because I think we ended up getting to Collins at the end of this, if I remember right. But we were throwing a lot of change ups.
Yeah, that was Ricky Eusebio, the leadoff hitter, center fielder.
Nice. Oh.
So Christopher Barr now is up for Miami with nobody on and one out.
I remember this. The sequence was pretty frustrating. It was like missing just a couple inches too low. Logs was just doing an awesome job framing it.
Good pitch.
Yeah, I remember the absolute last day for the that we could have played was June 1st, right? June 1st was going to be the game 7 if there was a game 7, which we ended up playing. And then June 1st was my birthday, and I was like, and then they put up that football score against us that day, and I was like, yo, I would rather like go out and play against Miami and lose that bad on your birthday. Like that's more fun than rather that than just it was great. It was a great time down there, even winning or losing. I remember.
Adam, how much did it help to be in a similar position in other games earlier in this regional, just from a mental standpoint? Meaning, hey, I've been there, I've done this. There's nothing to make more than it is right now.
Yeah, it's a good question because George, Kev, Weisman, and I have been starting for the year, and going into the Ivy League championship, I moved into relieving. And I remember it was a little weird getting settled into that in the championship series. And then it was nice having that coming into this to have some practice and get into a little bit of a groove of your preparation, your practice and stuff going into is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So here comes Iskandarian, and we're obviously bringing in the rest of the group now because this is the big moment and we want everybody to be able to react and take it in. Game-ending double play, and there it is. The most notable victory in Columbia baseball history. Knocking off Miami 3-0. Complete game 2-hitter thrown by Barr, Boehm, and Klein. Remarkable performance, guys. And even more remarkable to watch it 5 years later.
How's everybody doing?
Is Flynn naked?
Guys, how you guys doing?
Where's Fly Guy?
I just don't wear shirts very often at home, but wearing pants. What's up, Klein? If you want to follow me on Instagram,
Go Fly.
There's Baby Barks.
There he is. He made it. So we just watched Columbia beat Miami 3-0, and that's going to wrap up our wrap show to reminisce about this game. We're going to let the guys talk amongst themselves, but we certainly appreciate everybody for tuning in. I personally want to thank all of you guys for taking part in this. Thanks to Brett Beretti and the rest of the coaching staff. It was really enjoyable to look back and see the great achievement that you all put together. Heck of a performance on the hill for Bryce Barr, Zach Boehm, and Adam Klein, and some clutch hitting. This is pretty much what defined this group from 2013 to 2015, in which you won 3 straight Ivy League titles and had 3 appearances in the NCAA baseball regional. So congratulations to you all. Glad to see that you're all doing well.
And thanks so much for everybody for tuning in. We'll hope to do this again moving forward as Columbia blanked Miami 3-0 back in 2015, a very special night on May 31st, 2015. We're all signing off here. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon. Enjoy.
Mike had to put us all on mute.
Stuff.
Yo, Smart, what's up, baby?
He had to shut us up.
Thanks for putting this on, Lance. This is awesome.